for Parliament's ad hoc committee today. O'Sullivan will also appear in person after initially requesting to appear virtually because of safety fears. He will give evidence before the Parliament's ad hoc committee that's investigating police corruption and respond to allegations that he interfered in independent police investigative directorate affairs and targeted senior police officials. Babalondense reports.
Paul O'Sullivan avoided being subpoenaed by Parliament after he initially refused to appear in person. He said he feared for his life and asked to appear virtually. But after discussions with Parliament over his security, he will now face allegations in person about his close relationship with former IPID head Robert McBride. He will also be questioned about his threat to one of the witnesses who implicated him, evidence leader Norman Arendse.
As far as the evidence leaders are concerned and in our consultations with Mr. O'Sullivan, which have been extensive. He's appearing tomorrow to answer questions from the evidence leaders and from honourable members of the committee. Thank you.
The committee will continue its hearings beyond next week's deadline after requesting another extension from Speaker Tokodidiza. Alondanza, Eyewitness News.
At the Madlanga Commission, City of Ekurhuleni's suspended head of legal, Kemi Bihari, has denied protecting corrupt officials within the Metro's police department. Bihari appeared before the commission yesterday, responding to allegations that he shielded EMPD's deputy chief, Julius Mkhwanazi, from accountability. In 2023, Mkhwanazi was suspended for allegedly fitting blue lights to cars that belonged to suspected crime boss Vusmuzi Ket Matlala. Tabiso Goba has more.
At the heart of the matter is Kemi Bihari's refusal to support extending the suspension of Julius Mkhwanazi beyond 3 months. When approached by Colonel Henny Erasmus from EMPD's Integrity and Standard Unit, Bihari raised concerns with the case against Mkhwanazi, saying there were evidentiary gaps. Commission Chairperson Mbuyiseli Madlanga put it to Bihari that it was possible to extend Mkhwanazi's suspension while also giving Erasmus time to plug the identified gaps.
Why put stumbling block after stumbling block after stumbling block without giving him solutions? He has come to you for a solution.
Chair, at the time, the solution was for me to say, go and complete the investigations.
Bihari says in hindsight, he should have supported the extension. He continues on the witness stand today. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
Calls are mounting for the South African Police Service to account after Investigative Directorate IPID found that KwaZulu-Natal officers acted unjustly when they killed 4 criminals in Durban. The police watchdog has flagged an incident that happened in March last year where the police claimed the group opened fire first to evade arrest. The police's version of events has now been questioned after footage emerged showing the suspects complying with orders during the ordeal. Criminologist at the University of Cape Town, Dr. Simon Howell, has weighed in on the matter.
The concern, of course, is that while lethal force may be needed at some point, the police have to operate within the ambit of the law, especially considering that they uphold the law. So there's no excuse or that deviation here.
He says incidents of this nature fuel mistrust in the police service.
In many instances, I sense that the police may not be upholding the letter of the law, and as such, that brings into doubt their own legitimacy, but also brings into doubt the rule of law in the country.
And the White House says U.S. President Donald Trump has opposed Israel's annexation of the occupied West Bank. There's international outrage after Israel's finance minister and the defense minister Israel Katz announced new measures at the weekend to extend Israeli control over occupied Palestinian territory. The measures also make it easier for Israel to acquire land for new settlements which are illegal under international law. Egypt, Indonesia, Jordan, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and the United Arab Emirates have also condemned the move. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says Israel's actions are destabilizing and corrosive to the prospects for a two-state solution. Guterres spokesperson Stefan Dujarric.
Well, the Secretary General will continue to advocate for the respect of international law. We will continue to push for a two-state solution, but he can't do it alone. We want others to do so as well.
Gold is trading at $5,040.30 an ounce. The rand is at 15 18.90 to the dollar, 21.77 to the pound, 18.94 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.01 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident reported in Limbo Park. It's right along the N3 South. It happened near Marlborough Drive. In fact, after Marlborough Drive, and is causing heavy delays already. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic along the Mike 1 North, bumper-to-bumper traffic between Boyson's Road and the Crown turn-off due to a car stuck on the road right near the Crown interchange.
And in your sport, Proteas start their T20 Cricket World Cup with a convincing 57-run victory over Canada. We also saw throughout Monday victories for Zimbabwe and Scotland, while Pakistan-India's group match is set to go ahead. And 2026 Winter Olympic organisers say they're looking into why medals are breaking at the Games.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg starting at 16 degrees, peaking at 29. Pretoria 18 and 32. Vereeniging 17 and 31 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Forensic analyst Paul O'Sullivan will finally get a chance to answer allegations of police interference when he gives evidence before Parliament's ad hoc committee today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Your brain's a well-oiled machine. Now put it to work in the brain of 702. Enter on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. It is a Tuesday morning. It's the 10th of February, the year of our Lord, 2026. Where were you on this Saturday in 1990? It was the day in between. What do I mean by the day in between? The day before F.W. de Klerk had stood up in Parliament and told us Madiba was going to walk free. In fact, he had unbanned all the political parties. That seminal speech a week before that on the 2nd of February. There were plans, there was scrambling. Madiba was going to walk free the next day. I remember the Sunday Times drawing an artist's impression of what they thought Madiba might look like, because nobody had seen him in public for 27 years. And then at about 3 o'clock, I think it was in the afternoon, my memory might be playing tricks with me. I can't remember exactly, but my brain tells me it was around 3 o'clock. I was 15 years old. We watched him walk out of Victor Verster with Winnie Mandela. Where were you? Do you remember that moment? We're talking to the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund because one of the things Madiba spoke a lot about, his biggest pain in incarceration was obviously being away from his family. But most specifically, the sound of children's voices. Have you heard a baby laugh? You know, with spittle coming out of their faces. If you've ever done peekaboo with a toddler, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've ever lived near a playground, you'll know what I'm talking about. Those were the sounds Madiba craved for. He started a children's fund to try and help children in need all around the country. The CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund is joining us in studio as our big interview today. We're also going to be talking about this HIV vaccine. We've made enormous strides in the fight against HIV/AIDS, including, of course, now a once-a-day antiretroviral drug. There are even long-term jabs that are in the pipeline. And it looks like South Africa has found a way to a vaccine. So that's important. Are you an entrepreneur? You've got a really, really cool idea and you don't know where to pitch it. You don't know where to begin. You want your own Dragon's Den? Just after 8 o'clock, we'll tell you about an enormous opportunity that's going to bring investors, venture capitalists from all around the world, people with deep pockets looking for a good idea.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
As always, I'm not alone. I'm with my colleagues, Rofiwa and Samtanda, the producers behind the scenes putting the show together. Karabo is running around the studio. He's the person, if you're watching us, by the way, on our YouTube stream, he's the person in the studio. He has found other T-shirts. He no longer only wears Pirates T-shirts, but you'll see him adjusting the mics, adjusting the cameras, giving me dirty looks, wagging a finger every now and again, but it's all in good fun. He's responsible for our social media content. Very handsome chap as well. Is he on the market, Amo? Is he on the market? No, he's not.
Not him coming back into shot.
Did you see how he walked back so that the camera could see? And did you see the smile? If you're not watching our YouTube channel, you're missing out. You can just go to YouTube and look for 702 Breakfast. We're live in the studio. So we're doing radio that is part television. The other voices that you're hearing in the background, of course, are Amo Ramila and Muteo Kharipa. Good morning to you too.
Morning, Bongs.
Morning, Bongani.
I've got a question for you both.
Mm-hmm.
When you apply for a job, right, you have to put on your CV, some people call them references, some people call them referees. These are people that can speak well of you with some authority. And typically it's people who have managed you before, it's people that you have worked with closely before, it's people that you have done projects. They can speak to your abilities and your performance on the job. And they're meant to be neutral. I mean, we all know, wink, wink, they're on your side, but they're meant to be able to give reasonably objective perspectives on your abilities and who you are in the workplace.
Mm.
It's all part of your vetting, right? How do you vet them?
The people that you've put on your references?
Yeah, how do you make sure that they are people you want to be speaking on your behalf?
It's a funny one, but one thing I always do is ask the person whether they've got any reservations about the place I'm about to apply to. So I let them know I'm applying to this place. So if you get called by them, don't be surprised. But then I ask them, is there anyone that works there that has had a clash with you or you might be credible, yes, but what could be a disadvantage for me if you're on my CV?
Yeah, I mean, because ultimately the question is really trying to figure out, could your reference be a reason you don't get the job?
Because many a times when I didn't get the job, I thought, is it because I had, the person I had as my reference?
Yeah.
I wonder, what did they say about me?
Not so much what they say about you, but whether they themselves are credible. So you put Bongani Bingwa's name as your reference, and the prospective employer goes, who? You put him as your... What does all of this have to do with the price of eggs? I want to bring you up to speed with what happened yesterday at the Commission of Inquiry headed by Justice Madlanga. Yesterday, there was a focus on the city of Ekurhuleni. You've known, of course, for the last few weeks, they've been looking at the broader picture of alleged corruption in our, law enforcement systems, in our criminal justice system. But one of the big allegations, one of the central points that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi made at that press conference all those months ago was he said, look into what's going on in the city of Ekurhuleni. So yesterday then, it was the turn of Advocate Kemi Bahari, who is the head of risk and legal services for the city of Ekurhuleni. One of the big issues that he was facing was why no action was taken against the EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi. You would have heard him, of course, a little earlier on in the process. And one of the central allegations is that he was behind the fitting of blue lights into criminally accused cars, and that there were efforts to protect him, including by the head of risk and legal services. Advocate Kemi Bahari is long-winded. He goes to Timbuktu and Hong Kong before he gets, to Rosebank from Sandton. You see what I mean? He goes to Timbuktu and Hong Kong. He's just trying to get to Rosebank from Sandton. Have a listen to this exchange with Commissioner Advocate Sesi Baloyi.
I'm asking you a simple question because on my reading of these 3 pages, I don't see a suggestion. I don't understand it to contain any suggestion. So that's where my question comes from. Help me see, like you, what did you consider to be a suggestion from IPID in this letter?
Chair,
on the issue of the criminal aspects, and the last page 103 of that document, I'm saying that on the one hand, you're saying we recommend disciplinary processes. However, now what does mean is, should we now hold off on the disciplinary?
No, no, Mr. Barr, I'm sorry. We have only so much time. It's simple. You can point me to a line which you considered to be a suggestion.
In page 103. So mine is to say that when we read the document, but if you're saying we recommend disciplinary, say it and stop. And then you want a report on disciplinary, that is it. But when you're saying to me, however, it is sent to the DPP, it may just be an interpretation at the end of the day, but it was come to us. That is why we never finalized that letter. It was never sent out because we were still dealing with it.
Remember yesterday we were talking about an entirely different story, but stay with me. We were talking yesterday about the suspended head of department of Gauteng Health and how he was suspended over 60 days, even though he'd failed a lifestyle audit, even though there were questions around ATM deposits totaling in excess of R1 million. And there were questions about ties to the Tembisa Hospital corruption. He was suspended, and after 60 days, they had to reinstate him in a new position in a new area, but they didn't fire him. You see how that happens? Here, in this case, there was a report from IPID talking about what was to be done to Julius Mkhwanazi. And the head of Risk and Legal Services for the city of Ekurhuleni says, well, but they weren't clear. I thought maybe Angaz, right? And the commissioner says, okay, give me a line where in this report they are suggesting, they're saying, do us a favor, would be nice. He's like, oh, is that what they meant now? Oh my gosh, who knew? And then at that point, the commission head, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, addresses Advocate Behari and says, come on, man, come on.
Chief Mapieye, Commissioner Spies, and Mr. Nziza are complaining about is that you were protecting Brigadier Mkhwanazi. The issue Commissioner Baloyi is raising with you, IPID recommends that Ekurhuleni must institute disciplinary proceedings against Brigadier Mkhwanazi. You do nothing about that, but what you do instead is to try to respond blow by blow to the criminal process that's been instituted and which has not been referred to Ekurhuleni, and indeed it ought not to have been referred to Ekurhuleni. It has been referred to the Director of Public Prosecutions. And you then try to respond to that process which is with the DPP instead of responding to the recommendation to Ekurhuleni. That, I suggest to you, ties in with a complaint made against you.
You see? He spells it out for him. This is, dude, don't try. Now, what does all of this have to do with the price of eggs? Obviously, we're still just gobsmacked at some of the revelations and the extent of what was happening behind the scenes. But I noted with some interest, and I have to give credit where it's due, it was the former Eskom boss, Matsela Koko, who reminded us yesterday through a tweet. Remember when Andrea Johnson wanted to become the next National Director of Public Prosecutions? Who did she choose as one of her references, as one of her referees? Advocate Gemi Behari. In her own words, have a listen.
He was suspended. I called him. I hadn't spoken to him in months. It's not somebody I engage with every day, but it is someone I've known for a very long time, Minister. I spoke to him.
How do you put somebody, when did you change your reference on your CV?
The documents had already come in.
Oh, okay.
So I chose not to change it. Okay. I knew that if any issue arises, I must answer the issue. Changing it and then resending does look like I have something to hide, and I have nothing to hide.
I'm talking in the context when you say you have not spoken to him.
No, he had been a reference if you look at my CV, Minister, those two references had been references perhaps for the longest time on the CV, and had been there as well in the previous interview for NDPP. I called him and said to him, look, I had been nominated and I accepted a nomination. I cannot have you as a reference on my CV. I, however, cannot change it now because those documents have gone through. I did inform him that I will inform the panel as I...
Yeah, ne? Do you remember that moment when the panel, looking into making a short list of recommendations to the president for the country's next top prosecutor, was now asking Advocate Andrea Johnson about her CV? That's what it was about. That exchange you've just heard there is between Advocate Andrea Johnson and the Minister of Justice, Mamoloko Kubai. She makes the point, Advocate Johnson, that, she'd submitted her CV. This was a reference that had been there for a long time. The guy subsequently got suspended. She hadn't spoken to him in years. And when she realized that he'd been suspended, she'd already sent the CV, and she just called him as a formality to say, listen, I already submitted the papers, but I don't want you to be on my... Right? So the question is, do you have on your CV right now people you last spoke to 10 years ago, a boss from 15 years ago? How well do you think that's going to end, my friend?
Team, I feel like from yesterday's exchange between Advocate Baloyi and Buhari, it felt like we were back to immediately again. For that moment, I was like, oh dear God, there we are back to immediately. You will interpret it the way you feel like what is immediately. It was so, it was, sometimes the things that people do, and they cost us, the citizen of this country, a lot of money, and it makes our lives to be unsafe. But I guess, and they don't seem to care or even put thought in it.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
They're very clever, I'll give them that, and they try to be. Another person who's very clever is Mateo Haripe, who's got a question.
Yeah, good morning, Bongs, and to all the listeners this morning on 7:02 Land.
You look shell-shocked.
I've been listening to some of these clips thinking, what is happening? But I want to know this morning, are you good at standing up for yourself? So let's say you're in a boardroom, you've told somebody an idea maybe a day ago, and then they pitch it as their own. Are you gonna?
What do you think?
Are you gonna raise your hand and say?
Worked with me for how many years now? What, you've seen me in meetings? What do you think might happen?
I think you might stop that person in their tracks in a very nice way.
Thank you. I'm glad you said it in a nice way.
Yeah.
Of course I would. Of course I would.
I'll tell you why I'm asking.
Okay.
7:02
Weather.
24 after 6, what conditions can you expect? Temperatures will max at 29 degrees in Johannesburg. Your high in Pretoria is 32, 31 for Ekurhuleni. Durban maxes at 32. You can expect isolated showers and thunder showers there. Kimberley, a high of 30. East London, 30. Gqeberha, 28.
EWN.
Our first traffic report of the morning. Amo, what are you seeing on your fancy maps?
Well, Bongani, heading towards Alexandra, we've got a major accident seen on the N3 South that happened near Vincent Chabalala Road, causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of Marlborough Drive. And then traveling on the opposite side, the N3 North, we've got roadworks taking place right as you approach Marlborough Drive. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic, in fact, bumper-to-bumper delays on the Mark 1 North between Xavier Street and the Crown interchange, while heading towards Diepkloof, queuing traffic on the N1 North between the Golden Highway and the Diepkloof interchange. I'll have more traffic updates coming up for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa.
On 7:02. Let's walk the talk.
Things you need to know at this hour. Will the weapon used in DJ Warris's murder ever be recovered? It's a case that's drawn national attention, as you know, but investigators are facing major hurdles. Marathon Informal Settlement. It's known for its high crime activity. This is the scene where a second suspect in the murder of DJ Warris, it now turns out, was killed even before the police could arrest him, and the firearm believed to have been used in the killing is now missing. So they're looking for suspects. They figure out one of the guys who may have been involved in the killing of DJ Waris may have been killed before they even identified him, obviously after DJ Waris's murder. And he was killed at a place called Marathon Informal Settlement. It's just one of those areas that everybody in the neighborhood knows. You don't go there, right? Are there areas you don't visit? Are there parts of town that you know by, yo? How do you know areas are safe enough to go to? Where will you not go, Amo? Because you think, hey, is not
Alone.
sure.
I wouldn't go to Alexandra alone, especially deep Alex. Not
Deep
not
into
just
Alex.
I wouldn't. Not alone.
Walking, driving?
Walking. I wouldn't.
Walking.
Yeah.
All right. Are there times you don't get on the road because you worry about safety?
Especially at night.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where are your no-go areas and your no-go times? Marathon Informal Settlement has a particular reputation. Here's an interesting one. Despite lots of evidence linking the sons of the Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, to questionable deals and tenders, they've been cleared by the Public Protector from a 91 million rand contract linked to companies associated with them, even though there are so many red flags in that process, including, of course, as I say, there were... yeah. News 24 have done extensive reporting on this, and right down to where they claimed to be operating from, in areas in which they claimed to have businesses, all the ticks that would have qualified them for some of these tenders, which they did not meet. And so there are questions now being asked about the Public Protector's Office and its impartiality. Are you a twin? Are you an identical twin? And have you ever tried to confuse people by claiming you were your sibling? I know of a set of twins identical, and one used to write exams for the other. And they laugh about this and they think it's really cute. Adam Gilchrist has a story of two brothers. They're on trial for a double murder in France. But because they really, really are identical, the DNA evidence points to both of them. So the police don't know which twin did it. And neither one is saying. Isn't that fascinating? You can hear more details in about 2 hours' time from Adam Gilchrist. The SIU has ordered the return of 5 luxury vehicles linked to tender kingpin Hlangwani Maumela. And on this day in 2008, Amy Winehouse dominated the Grammy Awards. She took home 5 statues, including Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Female Pop Vocal Performance for Rehab, and Best Vocal Pop Album.
I ain't got the time, and if my daddy thinks I'm fine, they try to make me go to rehab. I won't go.
702.
The newspapers.
Sfiso Zulu, I can see you singing along. Can I say something that's going to make you hate me?
Okay. Oh, wow. So early in the morning.
Amy Winehouse, for me, is one of those artists. Yeah.
Well, we all have our opinions. And
listen,
yeah. Okay, wait. Based on what? Based on the music?
Let me explain.
On her personality.
There are artists. You don't think they're bad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit here and say she can't sing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say her but and
you had to be there. You had to be part of the culture at the time.
She hasn't been given to me.
No.
Do you understand what I mean when I say that?
No.
She hasn't been given to me. Teo, help me. What's the English? She just hasn't been given to me.
I don't know. There's no way you can put it.
I love
I wrong?
her. I loved
I
her.
can see.
Absolutely loved her. I was saddened by her death.
Yes, that was sad.
Yeah, but I absolutely adored her from the time she came out to.
Okay,
her
meet
challenges.
me halfway. Yeah. Is there a popular artist? Lots of people love this artist, and you don't think they're bad, but you just
Yo, people are gonna kill me for this. Beyonce.
Okay. Fair's fair.
Yeah.
In love and newspapers.
Right. The Bangkok Post today is running a story about A story that looks into basically transparency during elections. So there were general elections in Thailand, and it's emerged that surveillance cameras were covered by black bags during counting at a polling station in Bangkok. And this sparked a lot of protests by citizens who say that there has not been the rightful access to observe the process. And now there's been question about why those cameras were switched off. And the Electoral Commission there says, we forgot to switch them back on after people voted. And so now they are being accused of rigging the entire process in favor of the current prime minister, who is slated to actually win this election. So it's just a story that speaks about transparency during elections in Bangkok.
Right. They forgot. Yeah. Listen, not so loud. Don't give any of our guys ideas.
EWN Business.
Mateo wants to know, are you good at standing up for yourself, or do you need reinforcements? Do you need others to be witnesses, or can you stand your own ground? Or do you just let things slide? What prompts the question?
Bongani, the maker of weight loss drugs Wegovy and Ozempic, is fighting for its lucrative cash cows. Novo Nordisk has blocked the telehealth company Hims & Hers from launching a cheaper copycat version of Ozempic. Novo also launched a lawsuit against Hims & Hers. It is asking a U.S. court to permanently block Hims from selling compounded versions of its drugs that allegedly infringe on its patents and to award damages. As a result, Hims & Hers announced that what appeared to be a brilliant marketing raid. So they were going to launch this particular drug at $49 for the first month. That's around 700 Rand. And $99 per month. That's around 1,500 Rand. Therefore undercutting Novo Nordisk, who gave out this particular product at $149 per month. So that's $2,385. The market,
I'm with Hims & Hers.
well, the market cheered for Hims & Hers to say, oh, thank you for this generic. We can now afford it. But Novo was like, no, we came up with it first. We're blocking it.
I never noticed. And it wasn't even, it's not like they were doing, they were in, research and development for a weight loss drug. It was, oh, by the way, it does this.
Yes, it was for diabetes. And by the way, it also helped with weight loss. But it's a lucrative drug.
Mandela, Hims & Hers.
$80 to $100 billion.
Mandela to Hims &
I don't
Hers.
think it will ever hit the shelves. But we'll see.
Where's the Rand?
Rand at this hour still quite strong against the US dollar at 15 Rand 90 cents, 18 Rand 93 against the euro, and at 21 Rand 74 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,025 an ounce, while platinum is at $2,087. Brent crude at $68.88 a barrel. More business after 7.
Don't forget, in this next half an hour, we talk about South Africa's launch of the first human trial of an HIV vaccine. Swisa Zulu, good morning again.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Limited timelines and statutory deadlines have compelled the Nkabinde inquiry to take an extraordinary step as it investigates suspended Gauteng NPA head Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office. The panel has granted Chauke's legal team permission to lead evidence before the evidence leaders close their case. The ruling follows a decision by the panel led by retired Judge Bess Nkabinde to deny yet another postponement application because of unprepared witnesses. Delivering the ruling yesterday, Advocate Baloyi Mere said the approach was necessary to avoid prejudice and ensure compliance with the National Prosecuting Authority Act.
The counter application launched by Advocate Chauke's team is granted subject to the necessary modification of the relief sought in the notice of motion. 1.3. Advocate Chauke will open his case and commence with leading evidence on Thursday, the 12th of February 2026.
A defense attorney has accused the state's key witness in the high-profile trial related to the murder of steroid king Brian Weinstein of being a liar. The witness, who remains anonymous to protect his identity, has been testifying against alleged underworld figures Jerome Donkey Boyson and 11 others in the Western Cape High Court. Boyson and his co-accused face 36 charges for various crimes, including the murder of Weinstein in 2017. Carlo Peterson reports.
Defense attorney for Jerome Boyson, Advocate Amanda Nall, yesterday continued to test the credibility of the state's main witness. The witness, who can only be identified as Mr. X, says he was in charge of Brian Weinstein's security before being recruited by Boyson to murder the illegal steroid dealer. Nall told Mr. X his actions showed that his testimony cannot be trusted.
A self-serving motive. I put it
where I'm going to, that you would lie either to protect yourself or for financial gain.
The matter will be back in court today. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
Severe rainfall and thunderstorms have left a trail of destruction in some parts of KwaZulu-Natal. One person died at the weekend while 2 others were injured due to the storms in Herigwala and Mgungundlovu districts. KZN Cooperative Governance spokesperson Senzelwe Mzila says teams have been deployed to assist affected communities.
The storms have exacted a human toll in the Herigwala district in Umzimkhulu. A resident of Ward 15 was tragically struck and killed by lightning while at work on Friday. In a separate incident in Ward 12, 3 individuals sustained injuries from lightning strikes and are currently receiving medical attention.
And Venezuela's parliament has delayed a sitting scheduled for today that was expected to approve a landmark bill granting amnesty for imprisoned government dissidents as well as those who jailed them. The Secretary of Parliament says that lawmakers will gather on Thursday instead, without specifying whether the bill will be on the agenda, as Caracas faces pressure from Washington to free political prisoners. The amnesty law for democratic coexistence was spearheaded by interim President Delcy Rodriguez, who stepped into the shoes of long-term leader Nicolas Maduro after his ouster in a deadly U.S. military operation last month. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 29 and 32.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident in Amalgam along Main Reef Road, right at Crownwood Road. It's causing heavy traffic volumes, and there's also queuing traffic. In fact, bumper-to-bumper delays on the M1 North between Xavier Street and the Crown turn off. A car is stuck on the road along this route, so please be patient and expect about a 20-minute hold-up.
The top story this hour, the Nkabinde inquiry to take an extraordinary step as it investigates suspended Gauteng NPA head Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office.
When tax issues get complex, you need more than general advice. You need specialist insight. AJM turns intricate tax challenges into clear strategic solutions. From disputes and litigation to long-term planning, our expertise protects what matters to you and your business. With teams in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Namibia, we deliver the rigorous analysis high-stakes decisions demand. AJM. Complex tax matters simply resolved.
Flip-Flop Day brings South Africans together to support children and teenagers diagnosed with cancer.
Taking part is really simple. Get a 10 Rand sticker and wear your flip-flops on Friday the 20th of February.
Funds raised help Chalk Childhood Cancer Foundation SA provide essential support to these families.
So join me, Carrie Ann Alliston, and my friend Zota, and let's show the Chalk families they're not walking this journey alone.
Together, we can make a real difference. For more details,
visit chalk.org.za.
Aren't you tired of hearing how tough every bucky is? Tough this, tougher that, and being tougherer. But what about a bucky that's actually evolved? Confidence when you need it. Modern comfort because you deserve it. And next-gen tech that's, well, just smarter. Introducing the Changan Hunter range from only 5,299 Rand per month. Test drive SA's better balanced bucky today. T's and C's apply.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? Brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. Send us an answer based on something that piqued your interest during the show, and for that you win 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then later someone wins 2,000 Rand to ask a question. To get your answer, you see, SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. A place that I will never, ever, ever set my foot, Hillbrow in Johannesburg. Whether walking, whether driving, Hillbrow, Baba. No, for me it's a no-going area.
If there's one place I wouldn't go, Philippi in the Cape. That one, I wouldn't set my foot. Philippi. I've seen very dangerous things happen to people in Philippi.
Morning, Bogan and the listeners. No-go areas. Soshanguve Ekurhuleni, Mabopane, Winterfeld, Scandaf, or Slovo. These are no-go areas. Even the e-hailing guys, they don't go there.
Good morning, Bongani. Theo here from Duduza. Look, Bongani, I wouldn't go to a deep slot without a person who is known a deep slot or who knows the whereabouts and the intended locations there in deep slot. So and so is Gomorrah, Alexander. You must be with someone who's from there. You can't just be walking on the street as a stranger there.
Sorry, I can't get over Gomorrah.
You just want to add Sodoma there.
Are there areas you will not visit, you will not attempt? I know Soshanguve, I know Winterfeld, I know Hillbrow. I drove through Hillbrow about maybe 9 months ago, and I was just gobsmacked at what it has become, from what I remember it as in its heyday. Anthony Teixeira, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Cindy Paluta out for the morning. What areas won't you go to?
I mean, I'm pretty keen to go anywhere, to be honest with you.
Yeah?
I live in Bez Valley, which is, it's sort of rough. We hear gunshots fairly often. It's sort of like, Hillbrow adjacent. So I'm pretty much keen to drive anywhere, otherwise I wouldn't drive home.
Call it Bruma adjacent.
I think it's closer to Hillbrow than Bruma, if we're honest.
Eastgate adjacent.
Yeah. Eastgate as well. I'm scared of those robots, if we're being totally honest.
Yeah, hey?
Yeah.
Right. Tough boy from Bears Valley joins us this morning.
EWN Sport.
A winning start for the Proteas, Anthony Teixeira.
It was indeed Bongani, with the Proteas getting that T20 Cricket World Cup up and running with the 57-run victory over Canada after being sent to bat first. Aiden Markham's 59, as well as a quick-fire 75-run partnership between David Miller and Tristan Stubbs led the South Africans to a convincing 213 for 4. In response, Naveed Dhaliwal struck a well-taken 64 in vain. Lungiri shining with figures of 4 for 31, including a wicket off of the first ball of the Canadian innings, as the North Americans only reached 156 for 8. Here's the pacer.
Yeah, look, it was a bit difficult. We've never played them. We haven't seen much of them. I was able to see a few of the warm-up games that they played. Even looked at the 2024 World Cup. That's pretty much the information we had. And then it was, do the skills that you do best. Swing the ball in the power play. Obviously, challenge them up front with the new ball. Try to keep it as simple as possible. But it was pretty trial and error.
Can we get behind the Proteas this campaign? Please, if you are a lover of cricket, even if you are not and you've always wanted to know about cricket.
Performances, so all in all, great start from the boys. Second game is Afghanistan in 2 days' time, so we're going to rest up really well and looking forward to that game. It's a day game, so different challenges, different conditions, but all the boys are really excited and ready to go. So keep supporting us, and great start so far.
Let's get behind the Proteas.
Meanwhile, throughout Monday, we saw Zimbabwe win by 8 wickets, as well as Scotland picking up a 73-run victory over Italy. In the early encounter today at 7:30, it's Namibia up against the Netherlands. Well, great news for the showpiece, as the India-Pakistan group match is set to go ahead Sunday. Pakistan's government have directed the team to take to the field after a week-long standoff. In a statement released Monday, it shared the decision was taken in order to protect the spirit of the game and support the sport. While in football, Durban City have parted ways with head coach Sinetemba Mandela, and now that maintain that the factor of results is not to be considered in this. He's recorded 2 wins across his 3 matches in charge, including booking a spot in the Nedbank Cup last 16. City, however, say the club and coaches' plans were incompatible, and the 2026 Winter Olympic organizers say they're looking into why medals are breaking. Several athletes have taken to social media to share that the ribbon had come away from the medal soon after receiving their prizes. It's not the first time that the awards have been under scrutiny. At least 220 replacement requests have been made by athletes due to signs of wear and tear on the medals from the 2024 Paris Olympic Games.
Where were they made?
Good question. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News.
Bears Valley.
There's much to say about where South Africa is, and even more about where it's going.
On Thursday, 12 February, President Cyril Ramaphosa delivers the State of the Nation address, live from Cape Town City Hall.
702 Cape Talk and Eyewitness News will be there, analyzing every word and bringing you the news as it breaks.
From the build-up to the address to the conversations that follow.
Join Clement Maniatela and Mandy Wiener for live coverage and in-depth analysis from 6 to 10 p.m.
Live on the radio or live stream on the Prime Media Plus app. Sona 2026. Thursday, 12 February.
Live on 702 Cape Talk and EWN.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9. We're talking to Romco CEO Mlanzeni Boyce, and we do this on Wednesday to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor.
When they say, let's align, you could book another Teams meeting or you could grab a spirit level and actually get things straight. Forget the corporate talk and join us from the 22nd of January to the 1st of March for the Chamberlain Back to Business promotion. Get amazing deals on everything you need to get going again, from paint mixing and power tools to hardware and building supplies. Plus, serious savings on siteware for clothes that work as hard as you do. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
How would you like to lighten the load when it comes to getting your freight there conveniently and on time? You can with Tag. No scrambling around for cash or a card. Less time wasted. Choose the convenient way. To drive smart, download the Sanral app to link your cards and manage top-up payments for your convenience. For more info, visit sunral.co.za. Tags are the way to go. Sunral, an agency of the Department of Transport.
The Brady Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hi, my name is Faiz. I'm 12 years old. I go to Cliffview Primary School. I'd love to be a lawyer because I can argue until you're in a corner. I'm nervous and excited for the Whiz Quiz, and I'd love to win because V-Bucks is expensive.
Argue until you're in a corner. There's no arguing about the answers in the Whiz Quiz, Faiz.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. There's a crash on the N3 South. Amo, is it a bad one?
It is really a horrible one, Bongani. It's causing massive queues at this moment coming out of the Baklu interchange towards Vincent Chabalala Road. Please be on the lookout. If you're heading towards Alexandra, your best route at this moment is still the M1 South through Marlborough Drive. If you are traveling on the M1 North, we also have got queuing traffic between Xavier Street and Carr Street. A car is stuck on the road near Boyson's Road, as well as peak time delays along this route. Please be patient. I have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
February may be the month of love, but your boss won't be feeling the love if you're late for work. But fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are there to ease traffic congestion to get you to the office on time. They've been doing it for the past 20 years to make sure we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Today's forecast is calm conditions inside your Mazda CX-5. It'll be warm, so likely your cabin chills before you even ask. Patches of scattered traffic, but with heads-up display and lane keep assist, you'll feel like you're alone on the road. Clouds this evening. Perfect for that Bose sound system. And later, skin tingles as you take that curve a little too beautifully. The feeling will find you in the Mazda CX-5. Wonder awaits.
Ready to panda push-up play? Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 49 million Rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. Don't delay. Play Powerball for an estimated 31 million Rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 18 million Rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda push-up play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Modern romance is complicated. Swiping left, swiping right, decoding situationships. Flying should not be part of the drama. That's why at Fly Sapphire, there are no mixed signals. Just low fares from only 570 Rand. That's right. If low fares are your love language, we speak it fluently. Get to flysapphire.co.za and use our low fare finder to track down the best flights this month of love. It's hassle-free flying from the heart. Fly Sapphire for the love of flying. T's and C's apply.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Let's give away some cash, shall we? Up next, of course, we speak to you about a breakthrough in terms of an HIV vaccine. Faiz is 12 years old, goes to Cliffview Primary. He says he can argue you into a corner. Faiz, how does that play out in your home? Do your parents mind?
Yes, they do.
No doubt. Listen, there'll be no arguing about today's answers, okay?
Okay.
Good luck to you. KG, start the clock. True or false? South Africa's autumn begins in April.
True.
It's false. Which cartoons have characters called Ryder, Rubble, and Marshall?
Paw Patrol.
Correct. Give the present tense of the word went.
Skip.
Go. What is 7 times 9?
63.
Correct. Spell the word mansion.
MANSION.
Correct. Which word means earlier? Is it prior or post?
Prior.
Correct. True or false? Snakes have backbones.
False.
It's true. In cricket, the Protea fast bowler nicknamed KG is Kagiso who?
Skip.
Rabada. Which one of the 5 South African banknotes has the lowest value?
The 10 rand.
The 10 rand is the correct answer. Bit of a wobble there in the middle for you, Faiz, but not a bad round. Nonetheless, you walk away with 500 rand. 5 correct answers. Remember, you must be aged 10 to 13 to play. You could win a grand prize of 10,000 rand.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
7 to 7 onto this now. No longer the scourge that it once was, but for more than 40 years, HIV has shaped lives, families, and health systems across the region. We've made progress. There are now antiretroviral treatments that can turn this once deadly disease into something manageable. Daily prevention pills and now long-acting injectables. But perhaps something that's remained out of reach has been, firstly, a cure, but even a preventative vaccine. But South Africa is now taking a great leap forward. At the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation site at the Groote Hospital in Cape Town, researchers have launched South Africa's first African-designed, African-led human trial of an HIV vaccine, specifically developed for the strains most common in this part of the world. To talk to us about that, we've invited Dr. Shital Kasim, who is a clinical researcher at the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation. Dr. Kasim, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
How high are expectations when people hear HIV vaccine trial?
Yeah, so the expectations are quite high when we start talking about a vaccine trial, and people think that, okay, this vaccine is going to be available within the next few years. However, to remember that this is a first-in-human, first-in-Africa vaccine trial, so it's just phase 1 of many more vaccines to come.
How important was it that it deals with strains particularly found in our region?
It's so important to deal with strains that are found in our region in South Africa. So the first trial, the Brilliant 011 trial, is focusing on South Africa, and the strain that we have here is Clade C, which is actually different from the strain that we find in East Africa and the strains that we find in Europe and America. So in order to focus our investigation and our search for a vaccine, it's so important to test it in the country where we want to eventually roll it out.
Talk to me about that difference. Does that mean that if somebody has a strain here, is it worse? Is it, more potent than strains from elsewhere, East Africa you mentioned, perhaps Europe or North America?
So no, it's not worse, and it's not more infective or virulent or anything. It's just that it's different. So the difference becomes important when we're looking for a vaccine, because when we're looking at the outer part of the HIV, that's where the difference comes in, because that is where the vaccine is to target, and that is what we want to teach our immune response to actually look for. So knowing the difference is very important, and it's very important for vaccine development.
All right, tell us, how does this human trial work then?
So the first in human trial, these immunogens or these vaccines were tested already preclinically in the lab and in animal models. And when we talk about a first in human trial, what we do is we invite volunteers to take part in the study, and we obviously go through a whole informed consent process and make sure that they actually understand the trial. And thereafter, they go through the process of receiving a vaccination, taking some blood tests, quite a lot of blood actually, so that we can actually look at the immune responses. Follow up at our clinical research site with the doctors and with the nurses to make sure that this vaccine is actually safe.
Does that
in
mean
humans.
Does that mean the people participating in the trial, because they're part of this group, they would then expose themselves to potential infection?
Not at all. So in a first, that would be traditionally how we would test a vaccine in a phase 3, for example. But in a first in human study, we want to look at whether this vaccine is safe and whether it can actually even produce the antibodies that we need to further develop this vaccine. So we actually are looking for people who are not at risk of HIV in the first stages. And then thereafter, in the age of PrEP, we don't want anyone to expose themselves to HIV. It's not ethical. So in the further phases, we will look at offering people PrEP if they do identify themselves at having HIV. And that becomes difficult, and that's where the lab work is very important, because then we look at something called correlates of protection, and we look at, in the blood, does this actually protect you from HIV? So that all happens in the lab.
Dr. Kasim, I'm asking really as a layperson here, so forgive me. How do you know if it works if the participants haven't exposed themselves to the virus?
So that's where like I said, the lab work is very important. So what we do is we take a lot of blood tests, and we actually we isolate the immune cells. So the B cells specifically of the immune system, the T cells of the immune system, and we see if those cells are actually developing into broadly neutralizing antibodies, which is what we want, to neutralize the virus. And in the lab, those broadly neutralizing antibodies are then exposed in the lab to HIV, and to see if that could actually have a protective effect.
All right, and that question we started with about expectations, how soon does it hit the shelves?
Well, again, this is a first in human study, so it's the first step. It's a very exciting step, because these are immunogens that are developed in Africa for Africa. However, there are some challenges ahead. As you know, we had some funding cuts. The Brilliant program was quite dependent on US funding. Yeah. And the funding cuts had a devastating effect on the program. So we're just starting up again, and we're trying to get the funding. We've got 2 trials in the process, and in the program that we are looking to continue after this trial. And thereafter, we're going to then, if these things work, if these immunogens work, then we will go on to phase 2 and phase 3. And then it is a process about registering the vaccine and actually making it available. So we're looking at a good few years.
All right. We appreciate your time, and well done on the efforts. And no doubt we'll be with you on this journey. Every now and again, we'll chat to see what the updates look like. Dr. Shital Kasim is a clinical researcher at the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
30 years later, what does the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund still mean for vulnerable children in South Africa? That's coming up after this Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
MPs want one of Paul O'Sullivan's close ties to appear before the ad hoc committee, and Ghislaine Maxwell puts conditions for US lawmakers for her to speak about Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Members of Parliament now want forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan's close confidant Sarah Jane Trent to be hauled before the ad hoc committee inquiry after his appearance this week. Trent is accused of being part of O'Sullivan's Independent Police Investigative Directorate investigations and also has close links to former IPID head Robert McBride. Trent is expected to appear as part of the last batch of witnesses as the committee prepares to conclude its business. Babalo Ndenza reports.
Sarah Jane Trent is a forensic investigator and also serves as an advisor to private investigator Paul O'Sullivan, who is appearing before the ad hoc committee today. Her close relationship with former IPID head Robert McBride has also come up when Action SA MP Darylene James questioned McBride last month.
You were in contact with Sarah Jane almost every day. The two of you were going for drinks. The two of you had a romantic affair. I put it to you. Am I right?
Yesterday, EFF MP Leanne Matthys said she's equally implicated like O'Sullivan and must appear.
Well, she was charged for impersonating an IPID officer. In addition, she's been in and out of the IPID offices, so she must come here. There's no reason for her not to appear.
ANC fixer Brown Mohotsi, who had asked for extra security, is expected to appear on the 24th of February. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
Ekurhuleni's suspended head of legal, Kemi Bihari, has accused the Metro's current city manager, Kagiso Lerutla, of pressuring him to settle cases of two senior officials suspended for wrongdoing. Bihari told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday that Lerutla was under pressure by the ANC in the region. Bihari was suspended from his job in December for failing to act against the Metro's top cop, Julius Mkhwanazi, who had entered into an irregular contract with the private security company of suspected crime boss Vusmuzi Katmatlala. Tabiso Goba reports.
In September 2023, Ekurhuleni's head of human resources, Xolani Ncinta, was suspended for allegedly having fraudulent qualifications. In the following year, the Metro's EMPD chief, Jabulani Mapiyeye, was also suspended following sexual assault allegations against him. Testifying before the Madlanga Commission yesterday, Ekurhuleni suspended head of legal Kemi Bihari says he faced pressure to reach a settlement with the two men that would have seen them return to work.
I was brought under enormous pressure by the current city manager, Mr. Kagiso Lerutla, who was a CFO at the time, to settle. Kagiso Lerutla and Dr. Kupedi were vying for the city manager positions. And I was asked, because of certain agreements that were reached at the regional conference of the ANC, that the agreements reached that you must settle Nisa and you must settle Chief of Police.
Bihari's testimony continues today. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
Calls are mounting for the South African Police Service to account after Investigative Directorate IPID found that KwaZulu-Natal officers acted unjustly when they killed 4 criminals in Durban. The police watchdog has flagged an incident that happened in March last year where the police claimed the group opened fire first to evade arrest. The police's version of events has now been questioned after footage emerged showing the suspects complying with orders during the ordeal. Criminologist at the University of Cape Town, Dr. Simon Howell, has weighed in on the matter, and he says incidents of this nature fuel mistrust in the police service.
In many instances, I sense that the police may not be upholding the letter of the law, and as such, that brings into doubt their own legitimacy, but also brings into doubt the rule of law in the country.
And convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, has refused to answer questions from U.S. lawmakers, but her attorney says she's prepared to speak if granted clemency by President Donald Trump. Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking, was subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee to discuss her relations with Epstein. She is the only person convicted of a crime in connection with Epstein who died in a New York jail in 2019 while awaiting trial for sex trafficking. Maxwell was convicted in 2021 of supplying underage girls to Epstein, who had ties to powerful business executives, politicians, celebrities, and even academics. She was subpoenaed to testify virtually from the Texas prison where she is serving her sentence. Rather than answering the committee's questions, she invoked her Fifth Amendment rights to not incriminate herself. But committee chair James Comer told reporters that this is obviously very disappointing.
We would have brought her in months ago, but she's indicated she was going to plead the Fifth, and unfortunately she had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has, questions that would be very important in this investigation, and she chose to invoke her Fifth.
Gold is trading at $5,028.06 an ounce. The rand is at 15.91 to the dollar, 21.77 to the pound, 18.95 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $81.17 a barrel.
Traffic is looking much better in Alexandria along the 3 South, although that accident is still there right after Marlborough Drive, but traffic is clearing quite a bit. And then if you're traveling in Boksburg, we've got another accident scene reported on the N17 West. This one is right near Roundabout Road. It's causing heavy delays.
And in your sport, Lungangidi and Aiden Markram star as the Proteas pick up a win to start their T20 Cricket World Cup. Live action for us as Namibia and the Netherlands are clashing, and a massive blow for Everton as Jack Grealish has been ruled out for the rest of the season after undergoing surgery for a fracture in his foot.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 16 degrees, peaking at 29. Pretoria 18 and 32. Vereeniging 17 and 31 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Members of Parliament now want forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan's close confidant Sarah Jane Trent to be hauled before the ad hoc committee inquiry after his appearance this week.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Calling all the brightest minds in Gauteng. Time to flex your general knowledge smarts in the brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Gosh, it's all happening, isn't it? Forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan finally coming before members of Parliament in that ad hoc committee looking at allegations of criminality into our legal system. Yesterday, the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Malema, said it was shameful that some tried to justify those who have allegedly captured the country's criminal justice system, justify their refusal to come to the community. He says, to the committee, I beg your pardon. He says some are trying to undermine its efforts. Have a listen to what Julius Malema said, because he was scheduled to speak to our Clement Manyathela this morning. And Julius says, I've got to be at that ad hoc committee. Sorry, Clement. This is too important. Have a listen.
Shame on those who tried to justify why people who have captured our criminal justice system were refusing and ridiculing and undermining this parliament. That's why Paul O'Sullivan has got the guts to say some members will not ask him questions, because he wants to be asked questions by his friends. I had an interview tomorrow with 702 at 10 o'clock with Clement Manyathela. I cancelled it. I'm coming there. And there is nothing culturally, chairperson, which is going to stop me from coming there. I'm coming to attend to a person who has been running this country and running amok in this country.
Yeah, I wonder if Clement shouldn't dip into that ad hoc committee at 10 o'clock just for Julius. I'm coming. I'm coming.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Have you worked with somebody who was untouchable, right, in your workplace? No matter what the evidence, no matter what the complaints, no matter how many times, no matter how many people, this is somebody who repeatedly, quote unquote, gets away with it. Yesterday, one of the key assertions against the Ekurhuleni head of risk and legal services in the city of Ekurhuleni was the idea that he consistently protected the former EMPD deputy chief, Julius Mkhwanazi. We heard repeatedly Behari trying to find the longest route between Rosebank and Sandton, going via Timbuktu and Hong Kong. Even I got mixed up in my own metaphor. Hey, Amo.
Yeah.
He was taking a long route.
That's how confusing it was.
Guys. I want you to listen now to Advocate Kim Behari. As I say, he's the head of risk and legal services in the city of Ekurhuleni, and he was under real pressure from the commissioners to concede about whether or not he had protected the EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi.
You are raising all the problems with him, and you say, I'm going to speak to the chief of police, and by the time you speak to the chief of police, the suspension has expired. You let it expire.
Chair, but there was never an intention to let the suspension expire. My intention was to make sure that we have all the processes, because as I said, applying the laws to say that a suspension is not punitive, nothing stops us from still carrying on and saying that we have new information to resuspend. The HOD HR could have resuspended. I know you mentioned that I'm going on about the compliance issue. That was what was important to me. How do you finalize these gaps? And Erasmus could not give me at that stage any response, but it could be taken as, and I say to you that I let it lapse, but that was never my intention. My intention was to look at how do we finalize and close all the gaps. The suspension could always have gone back and said to the HOD, let's resuspend. There's been other cases where we've resuspended.
If you've ever wondered why it is people who have been suspended, accused of serious wrongdoing, end up popping somewhere else in public life, in particularly the public service, this is how, right? This is exactly how. The other question I asked you a little earlier on, how do you decide which names to include on your CV for potential references? This guy, of course, eventually got suspended for all the obvious reasons, I think, from his testimony yesterday. And remember when Advocate Andrea Johnson wanted to be the National Director of Public Prosecutions? Remember there was that exchange between her and Minister Mamuluko Kubai? Because she was asking, how do you put a guy like this who is suspended? You want to be the country's top prosecutor. Your friends get suspended in Ekurhuleni for dodgy. And she's like, no, by the time I submitted the documents, he was already suspended and I couldn't get the documents back. And I hadn't spoken to him for years. That thing, where you worked with Rofiwa 10 years ago, and you last spoke to her 8 years ago, but she's still a reference on your CV. Oh, babe, be careful. Oh, babe, be careful.
Hey, morning, Bongs, Aubrey and Pastoras. Bongani, the issue of referees or references, I think employers now, they don't really look at that. It's not that before they used to really emphasize on them. Luckily now, they don't really concentrate on them. Just imagine I'm looking for a job there by 7:02 and then I have my reference because I once worked at the SABC S1 Claudi Mutsuning. Thank you, Bongani.
It's very naughty. That's very naughty. I would call you for an interview just to get the scoop on Claudia. I'd be like, so tell me, how bad was it? You know what I mean? Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I think there are probably too many other ways now to vet people and make sure whether or not you want them in your organization. But it's still there. It's still there. I mean, it probably does more to assist you than necessarily harm you.
702. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. There are delays in Boksburg. Amma, what's going on?
Bongani, a major accident has been reported there on the N17 West. It's right near Rondebolt Road. It's causing about a 20-minute hold-up heading towards Germiston. So please try to use the N12 West or even the R24 West into areas like Bedford View. If you are traveling on the M1 North, we still have got queuing traffic between Xavier Street and Car Street. This is due to peak time delays, and there's also several roads within this area that are backed up around the Boysons Reserve area, Crownwood Road, the Soweto Highway towards Boysons Road, as well as Boysons Road. So please be patient if you're traveling along this area. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Without Outsurance, saving on your car insurance is sweeter than heart-shaped chocolates. 30-year-old Dinero saves an unbelievable 1,094 Rand on her 2025 Kia Sonet. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Why pay when you could be saving? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
702.
The Big Interview
With Bongani Bingwa.
16 after 7 o'clock. Today, or at least, I want to say today because it is a day, it's the in-between, right? It's the day in between. You remember, of course, if we go back 36 years ago on the 9th of February, another seminal speech following one the week before by F.W. de Klerk. And there was a scramble behind the scenes. Planes were being booked, hotels, cars, stadium. Where would he speak? Who would be there? Who was going to receive him? What was the welcoming committee going to look like? All of those decisions have to do with the release of Nelson Mandela from jail on the 11th of February 1990. And as somebody who's read a number of biographies of Madiba, one of the things that was foremost in his mind during his incarceration, he missed the basic things, the simple things, like hearing the sound of children's voices, their laughter, their jokes, their screams, their squeals. These were the sounds he missed. Quite apart, of course, from having been wrenched away from his own. And so one of his dreams was to contribute towards the progress and protection of children in South Africa. And that's why he started the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund all those years ago. You remember, of course, he even donated a portion of his presidential salary to make sure that the fund got off the ground. And he often would call CEOs and corporates and, hello, are you the CEO? And who could refuse the big man? We've invited Dr. Linda Ngubenkomo, who is the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, to talk to us about the important work they do and what it might mean 36 years after the release of Madiba. Thank you for coming into studio and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning, Bongani. Good morning to your listeners, and thank you for inviting us to have a conversation.
Have I outlined that background accurately?
You've absolutely outlined the background accurately. And in addition to what you've outlined, one of the things that led him to the starting of the fund was coming across a group of children in the middle of the night in Cape Town. Children who should have been home, sleeping, having been tucked in bed by parents ready for the next day at school, and these children were out on the streets in Cape Town.
The reality, of course, is if Madiba were to walk that very street today, he might find exactly the same.
He might find worse, because there are more children that are homeless than they were at that point in time. But the point being that what really drove him and what he wanted to do something about was the fact that society had normalized children living in the streets. So that was one of the biggest shockers for him, that they should be at home. They're not at home. Why hasn't somebody made sure that they are at home? And those are the things that should be driving us. Children are hungry, children are abused, children are not at school. Why? And more importantly, what do I do about that?
That situation, as you say, is probably worse in many respects. Many children still trapped in poverty, in hunger, in unsafe communities. We now know, of course, of the scourge of gender-based violence and children being particular targets.
So if you look at the fact there's about 20 million children in South Africa under the age of 18, and about 62% of them are living in multi-dimensional poverty right now, meaning that it's not just the fact that there is no food, but the knock-on effects of being in a home that doesn't have economic activity means the quality of education is compromised, access to healthcare. There's a whole myriad of facts that we need to take into account when a child comes from poverty.
How many children, based on the numbers you may have, are living in these stressed environments in South Africa today?
So 62% of 20 million, it's too early for maths, Bongani.
Right,
but the numbers are big.
That's a good
staggering numbers.
Is about 12.5 million. I would probably put it somewhere there.
Staggering numbers. Yeah, it's populations of some countries.
Doesn't it feel almost too big a problem to tackle?
It feels like an overwhelming problem to tackle, but We cannot lie, with our heads buried in the sand or just be disempowered by the sheer numbers. And we have to continue the work of advocating for policy changes, advocating for systemic changes so that we can start to make a difference.
What are some of the worst scenes you have seen, you have experienced?
I have seen children. Just in this last week, I was at on project site visits in the Free State in Tabanchu, and went to a rural school that has got 3 classrooms. Those 3 classrooms have to accommodate grade R and then grade 1 to 7. There are no playing fields for the children in that school, so there's nothing. And then the lunch was served while I was there, and what was lunch was pap and fresh milk. And I was looking at that food and thinking, their stomachs are going to be filled. But I just wonder what nutritional value is in that meal. Yeah.
Papa Kalibis.
Yeah. And talking fresh milk, not even amasi, because with amasi, there are some level of nutrients in there. It was pap and fresh milk. That has been one of the heartbreaking scenes that I've seen in the last week.
We have a Department of Social Development. We have a Ministry of Women, Children, and People with Disabilities. What are they doing?
I think what is missing in this whole thing is the integration of the working of all of these departments. So you've got meals being provided at schools, right? But who's monitoring the quality of the food that is being provided at schools? You've got children who, after they've had that meal at 11, 12 o'clock, they're not going to have a meal again until breakfast the next day. So what are we expecting then is happening to those children after they have left school? So it's got to be a more integrated effort of monitoring and evaluating whether what we've put on the ground is actually giving us the results.
On the one hand, I mean, let's be fair. I want to concede and say at least government has put in something, right? Because some of those kids would otherwise have no meals. Many of them come from families dependent on some form of social grant.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously also, the SRD grant that some families now receive. Yet, as you've outlined in this interview, there's an enormous gap. There's still so much more work to be done. And really, without being politically correct, I ask you again, what is the Department of Social Development doing? What is the department in the presidency, Nohal, right? This is a minister in the presidency looking after women, children, youth, children, and persons with disabilities. What are they doing?
So I think, like you say, we need to give a credit where credit is due, where we're saying
Yes,
government is putting that.
We've said that.
However,
What are they doing?
The question needs to be, what should be done differently? That's what we need, because we are giving the food. What needs to be done differently is ensuring that there is monitoring and evaluation of the quality of the food that the children are getting. We need to be making sure that if a child is getting food at school, we've created a safety net for them to have food at home. There must be dinner, there must be food during the school holidays, because some children are solely reliant on the food at school.
Do we sometimes throw societal problems back at the government? Or, if I take up your point about what needs to be done differently, because the fact that a child only gets that meal at school explains possibly the kind of home they may come from. But are we doing enough to ensure that there's safety in those homes? That it isn't just the pap and fresh milk in their bellies we provide, but we provide some kind of security. We provide some kind of environment in which a child maybe not thrives, but at least survives.
So, Bongani, one of the programs that we do run at the fund is aimed at addressing exactly that, ensuring that there can be a meal, a nutritious meal in the home for every child that's within that program. And that looks at something as simple as, let's start gardens in the backyard. let's sell the surplus so that at least there's got to be some level of food. And the question then becomes, how do we as communities scale that up? How do we make sure that churches that have lots of vacant land become food gardens and orchards for fruit? How do we ensure that the empty spaces within a communal place in a community can be converted into sources of food? So there are some things that are within our hands to do without waiting for government to come and give us, the safety net.
If Madiba were with us, he'd still be disappointed. He'd still be heartbroken, wouldn't he?
I think his heart would be totally broken, and he'd be asking the question, guys, how can you forget what it's like to be a child and leave these children to another cycle of bleakness and of poverty for the children that they will bring into this world?
Yeah, you might have an MEC one of these days telling us the children choose that, but that's another story for another day. Dr. Linda Ngubenkomo is the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund.
EWN Business.
27 after 7, let's get into business news now. Let's talk mining. That's obviously the big story, certainly with that Indaba unfolding in Cape Town, Muteo. Northern Platinum's interim earnings are set to surge.
Yeah, commodity boom taking advantage of that. Bongani, Northern Platinum's interim earnings are set to soar with sales revenue up 60% to 23 billion rand. The miners' headline earnings are expected to jump, driven by higher production and improved metal prices. Northern is also investing in renewable energy with an 80 megawatt solar power facility at Zondereinde and self-build projects at mine sites.
DRD Gold's earnings also set to rise as much as what? 103%.
It's gold.
Imagine your salary going up by that much, eh? Bosses?
Wish.
Aren't we Radio Gold?
We're Radio Gold. Breakfast team, the entire
you see where I'm
breakfast
going.
team.
You see where I'm going. How did the entire?
DRD Gold is still riding the wave of high gold prices, with interim earnings expected to double, revenue up 33% at the company. The company's headline earnings per share are set to rise by between 93 and 103% for the 6 months ended in December. DRD Gold has also sold its solar subsidiary Stellar Energy Solutions. Meanwhile, as the commodity boom continues, Minerals Minister Gwede Mantashe told attendees at the Investing in Africa Mining Indaba that Africa must position itself to benefit from the global demand for strategic and rare minerals. Mantashe says African leaders must sing from the same hymn book to unlock value from their resource reserves. Now, obviously, every country is trying to get the copper. They're trying to get all the rare minerals that give us AI and some of the chips that we enjoy in some of our smartphones and laptops. And it's really the scramble for Africa again. And Mantashe basically saying that, look, let's position ourselves at this time. At least we unlock some value.
I was stunned by his comment that they now need to establish a task team to look into illegal mining. So you get a task team, she gets a task team, he gets a task team, everybody gets a task team.
I think it's an easy cop-out because it's a question they haven't been able to answer.
For how long?
That of illegal mining. So
For
to
how
just
long?
say we need a task team.
But also this continued focus on the foot soldiers and not the kingpins. We know
Who's
this
behind
thing is organized.
Who's behind it?
Who are the guys at the top?
Yeah.
But his solution is a task team. And no, I did not get a 103% raise. Just now DJs are in the news for all the wrong reasons.
The rand at 15 rand 90 against the US dollar, 18 rand 91 cents against the euro, and at 21 rand 74 cents against the British pound. Price of gold down 0.5%, but still quite high at $5,031 an ounce, or platinum at $2,088 an ounce. Brent crude at $68.88 a barrel. More business after 8.
Breakfast show hosts being mentioned here and there, denying this and that. Asika Laupo, Swisa Zulu, a very good morning to you. Let's talk about the former top prosecutor.
That's right, Bongani. Good morning. Former NPA head Shamila Batoyi has now appointed a legal team to represent her at the inquiry into Gauteng prosecution's boss Andrew Chauke, but it's unclear when she will resume her testimony. Batoyi walked out of the inquiry in December after facing tough questions during cross-examination, citing a lack of legal representation. The inquiry will now resume on Thursday after the application to postpone to next week was rejected. Demakatso Leshoro has the details.
The Nkabinde inquiry on Monday rejected a request by evidence leaders to postpone hearings until 17 February. Instead, the panel has granted permission for Chauke's legal team to begin leading evidence before the evidence leaders conclude their case. Evidence leaders will, however, still be allowed to call additional witnesses should any be willing to come forward. The first witness to testify in Chauke's defense is Advocate Sello Mayema, a former Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions in the Northwest. The panel has imposed strict deadlines. The witness statements must be circulated at least 2 days before testimony, with the initial statement due by 10 February. The inquiry has until June to finalize its work. Timakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
Severe rainfall and thunderstorms have left a trail of destruction in some parts of KwaZulu-Natal. One person died at the weekend while 2 others were injured due to the storms in the Herigwala and Umgungundlovu districts. KZN Cooperative Governance spokesperson Senzelwe Mzila says teams have been deployed to assist affected communities.
The storms have exacted a human toll in the Herigwala district in Umzimkhulu. A resident of Ward 15 was tragically struck and killed by lightning while at work on Friday. In a separate incident in Ward 12, 3 individuals sustained injuries from lightning strikes and are currently receiving medical attention.
In Japan, almost 3 weeks of heavy snowfall has killed 46 people and injured 558 others. Continued snowfall since late January has buried northern communities and caused traffic chaos, particularly along the coast facing the Sea of Japan. Police say many fatal accidents happened when snow fell on residents from roofs or people tumbled while trying to clear it. And Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema says governments on the African continent must ensure a better regulatory and operating environment to avoid poor performance in the mining industry. Hichilema made the calls at the opening of the annual Mining Indaba in Cape Town yesterday. He's among delegates attending the 4-day gathering where mining giants, financiers, government and community leaders are in talks to turn mineral wealth into long-term growth.
We are building institutions. We had a weak base when we took office. Institutional weaknesses. Yet those institutions are critical to the support of the industry. The Minerals Regulation Commission, which was never there, is now up, which will help us to streamline the approval processes, make it very clear. The path should be very clear for any investor, but also root out inconsistencies, multiplicity of rules, procedures that creates some problems for investment and for the government.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 29 and 32.
And in the traffic in Boksburg, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N17 West. This is between Rondebolt Road and the Rand Airport interchange. This is due to a major accident scene as well as roadworks taking place along this route. Do expect about a 20-minute hold up there. If you're heading towards areas like Germiston or Bedfordview, please try to use the R21 North or even the N12 West.
The top story this hour, Shamila Batoyi has now appointed a legal team to represent her at the inquiry into Gauteng prosecution's boss, Andrew Chauke.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Are you able to confirm, Spiwe, if the SANDF has promoted Soli Lichuenyo to General and Commanding Officer at the SANDF Special Forces?
Well, I'll have to refer back to the bulletin that has all the names and refer that, because that is the official document that I must refer to if somebody has been promoted.
But what you are aware of is that this same gentleman is soon to stand trial for murder.
I am aware, sir.
Okay. Spiwe Dlamini, SANDF spokesperson, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Water infrastructure vandalism has tragic and dangerous consequences. The theft of manhole covers can result in fatalities, especially among children. Each damaged pipe, illegal hookup, or vandalized pump jeopardizes access to clean water, disrupts service, and threatens public safety. Report suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg at 0800 002 587. Help combat water infrastructure vandalism. Your alertness can prevent disasters. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
The decision to switch to outsurers. Not only was it quick and easy, but gave us more favourable premiums and more cover.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get an out bonus of up to 10% of your paid premiums back for restaurants, pharmacies, and all other businesses? Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Paying your COJ account made easier with eJoburg. Hi, I'm Tebogo Moraka, the Chief Financial Officer at the City of Johannesburg. Remember, your city services are just a click away. With eJoburg, you can view, pay, and manage your municipal account anytime, anywhere, no more queues, no more lost bills. It's quick, it's safe, it's smart. Visit www.ejoburg.org.za to register today.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Would you agree they're different things? The one would be a general thing, we do not want to play against any Jewish children. And the other would be the parents think we shouldn't play you because of what's happening in the Middle East. Would you agree there is an important distinction?
Well, I mean, I think we could interpret it like that. We are a faith-based and proudly South African school.
Right.
Just like Rodine is, who's an Anglican school, but nowhere in the conversation did the issue of the Middle East politics come up. It was purely because we are a Jewish school.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. Oh, what a refreshing interview and a reminder of the legacy of Madiba. What an indictment to our poor children. You know, if I also think of the Naledi kids that has died, it's just very hurtful and painful in the manner our children are being treated by us. And I also remember when my late mom also used to say, when you hear children's laughter and playfulness, there is hope. And in that said, we need to take care of our children. Thank you.
Morning, Bongani. Alex from Pretoria here. I think the biggest problem with feeding schemes is that the middleman is just costing too much. Good, nutritious food is out there. The thing is, once you start tendering all of those things, then children are suffering. All those people that are part of the community that needs to assist in these feeding schemes, they're the ones that are charging the money.
I think it was Gandhi who said how we judge a society, the true measure of a society is how we treat its most vulnerable. So we're talking children, we're talking the elderly. Do you ever sit back at times and you look at public life and the things that happen unnecessarily? And you just think, but was there ever a plan? Was there ever a plan for our children? Yesterday, I reminded you that the ANC Youth League was questioning the relevance of a ministry, a whole department of women, youth, and persons with disabilities. And so when you hear about children who go to these overcrowded schools, who get this barely nutritious food as their only meals, who have to return to unsafe environments where they're abused and they're ill-treated, what's the plan? Do you have a sense that those who are in charge of this society are seized with that problem, that it keeps them up at night? Or do we get irritating comments, arrogant comments, like people choosing to sleep on the floor? And that's why you see them in hospitals, not in beds. It's the same kind of thing, right? Isn't it?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. A chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Jabulisile. Jabulisile. Very good morning to you, Jabulisile. Please give us today's answer.
Good morning, Bongani. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Go ahead, Jabulisile.
The answer is 5.
5. Ooh. Is that 5 runs? Ooh, okay, I'm curious about what that question will give us. Jabulisile, tell me, have you got a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, I did.
The biscuit, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Jabulisile, who has a quote from Outsurance. Remember, always you stand a better chance of being selected to give us an answer if you have SMS'd out to 45142. She says the answer is 5. What could it be? 5 goals, 5 points, 5 runs? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Anthony Teixeira, of course, makes a welcome return to the show. Anthony, that 5 is not the number of runs by which we won yesterday.
No.
The Proteas?
No, technically it was 11 times that better for us.
Quite a bit more.
Yeah. The Proteas moving top of their T20 Cricket World Cup group thanks to a 57-run victory over Canada. Player of the match, Lungangidi, claimed 4 for 31 and says the batters, who posted a target of 214, set up the bowling unit for success.
It seems like a very good wicket, and there's periods in the game where, like you saw with them, they got in and you can capitalize on that. Even when we played India, like I say, it was a pretty good batting deck. Yeah, we were thinking around 180. As the bowlers, we were willing to take that.
It's a quick turnaround for the South Africans as they head out against Afghanistan tomorrow morning. We also saw wins for Scotland and Zimbabwe, while the day's first match sees Namibia batting first in their opening game of their tournament against the Netherlands, who won the toss and elected to bowl. Right now they're 11 for the loss of 1. That's in the third over of that game. We've already seen Lawrence Steenkamp dismissed for just 6 runs. While still to come, New Zealand and the UAE will meet while Pakistan face the USA at 3:30. The Pakistan government giving the go-ahead for their side to play the group match against India Sunday. While the Proteas women will have their own T20 encounter to enjoy against the Pakistan women in Poch from 6 p.m. this evening. In football, massive blow for Everton as they confirmed that midfielder Jack Grealish's season is over after undergoing surgery on a stress fracture in his foot. It also means that his World Cup hopes are slim after he discovered some form in the Toffee setup with 2 goals and 6 assists across his 22 appearances. Everton in action this evening in the Premier League against Bournemouth. Meanwhile, mid-table showdown between Spurs and Newcastle, and Chelsea play Leeds at 9:30. The late kick-off will see Man United going in search of a 5th successive win against the relegation-threatened West Ham. Michael Carrick says he's prepared his Red Devils for the battle.
I think you've got to go into the game understanding the situation of both teams. We've tried to paint that picture to the players in every game we've played so far, and it'll be the same come Tuesday night. You know, different games throw up different things, and yeah, for sure, you know, teams towards the bottom of the league are really fighting for things. But so are we.
Kickoff there is at 10:15. Before that, at 7 p.m, the Nedbank Cup last 32 concludes. Polokwane City against Amazulu, as well as Soweto Super United against Milford. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 to 8. Let's catch up with the roads now. Peak time delays everywhere. Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. This is especially along the R24 West, bumper-to-bumper traffic there. This is between Edenville Road and the N12 merge. The N12 in itself is also heavily backed up towards the R24 merge. So heading towards Bedford, we do expect those long queues while traveling in a Boxback. We've got queuing traffic along the N17 West. This is between Rondebolt Road and Heidelberg Road, and that's due to an accident scene as well as roadworks along this route. And to add on to this misery, the peak time delays at this time of the morning. Traveling on the Mark 1 North, bumper-to-bumper traffic between Xavier Street and Carr Street. Several routes within the Boysand Reserve area is also or are heavily backed up. This is like routes like the Soweto Highway, Crownwood Road, as well as Boysand Road. So if you are traveling within this area, please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. I'll have more traffic updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Joburg Ballet presents Giselle, the sublime of all the romantic ballets, at the Joburg Theatre from Thursday, the 12th of February to Sunday, 15th February. Giselle is a hot, trending story about love. It's so powerful it reaches from beyond the grave. It lays bare a tale of passion, betrayal, and forgiveness with one of the greatest ballerina roles at its core. There'll be 2 Valentine's Day performances at the Joburg Theatre on Saturday. That's, of course, the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day. Do you have a Valentine? Take them to the ballet. It's between 2 p.m. and again at 7 p.m. It's the ideal opportunity to celebrate this romantic ballet with your Valentine. And then, of course, later, Giselle will go to the South African State Theatre in Pretoria from Friday, the 20th of February to Sunday, the 22nd of February. But if you're looking for a romantic plan, come on, man. This Saturday, 2 p.m., 7 p.m., book your tickets for Giselle at webtickets.co.za.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Stevie, it's Clinton Myers, the Minister of National Treasures.
Mr. Minister, how can Momentum Insure help you?
This economy is not helping with the cost of my gusheshe, my tires, man.
Just get Momentum Insure's safety returns and get up to 30% cash back, even if you claim.
Is it true?
Stru's Bob, Mr. Minister. Visit momentum.co.za or call 0816 006-784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Get the advantage this tax year end with Sage. No stress, no scrambling. Just seamless HR and payroll that keeps you ahead of UIF, PAYE, and employment equity. All in one smart cloud solution. With automated compliance, real-time accuracy, and simplified HR and payroll. Give your business the tax year end advantage. That's Sage. Visit tax.sage.co.za today.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance, please tell me what's the question. If the answer is 5, let's go to Faith in Germiston. Faith, what's the question?
Which year did Amy Winehouse win 5 Grammys today?
No. Faith, I'll give you one more chance because you're almost there, but you're not there. If the answer is 5, what's the question? Give me a question that gets me to 5.
Oh my gosh.
No?
Which year 2008 did which day in 2008 did Amy Winehouse win 5 Grammys?
Faith, you've got it, but you don't quite have it. Askisi. I did give you a chance. Let's go to Max in Greenside. Max?
Hi.
What's the question?
Hi, Bongani.
What's the question, Max?
The question is, how many Grammys did Amy Winehouse win in 2009?
Yes. How many Grammys did she? You remember the question must give me the answer. That's the whole point. Max, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
I have.
Your biscuit, 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Very well done. So I've got a confession. I said this earlier. Everybody in the studio wants to shoot me and throw rotten eggs and tomatoes at me. Oh, Amy Winehouse. There's nothing wrong with her. I'm not saying she's objectively, she can obviously sing, she's talented, but it's just, you know, like some people, Taylor Swift, huge as she is, and you just go, Do you know what I mean? Do you have that artist? You almost want to whisper it because you don't like them. Hold on. Maybe I've got this wrong. KG, do you have another song? And it's not that, don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm not dissing her, right? I don't even dislike her. I'm just, you know, what did you play earlier? Rehab. No. Back to Black is a favorite one. People always talk about that. Back to Black. Do you know Back to Black? Amo?
Yeah, I do know Back to Black.
Okay, let's test. Let's see. If you're watching on YouTube, Amo's going to be singing all the lyrics. Getting to the chorus. Are we not there yet? When are we getting to the waiting for the black part. So far removed from all that we went through, and I took a troubled track. My odds are stacked. I go back. Again, I'm not dissing Amy Winehouse, don't come for me. I'm just saying for me, the paraffin light, you know, the flick doesn't quite, you know what I mean? The oil doesn't quite, you get what I mean.
Wait till you hear how much money Outsurance saves 30-year-old Dineo on her car insurance.
I'm saving 1,094 rands.
That's an incredible monthly saving of 1,094 rand on Dineo's 2025 Kia Sonet. SMS out to 45142. Here's 63-year-old Almero.
We do save 417 rand. That's about 5,000 rand a year.
That's an awesome saving on Almero's 2021 Ford Ranger. Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. With Outsurance, after 3 claim-free years, you get an out bonus.
Can't wait for that. A little bit of cash for a girl to have a little bit of fun, eh?
Always getting something out. You also get 5 million rand third-party liability cover, covering damage to the other person's vehicle in an accident. How much could Outsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Get ready to Panda Pusha Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 49 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. Don't delay. Play Powerball for an estimated 31 million rand. Powerball Plus for an estimated 18 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Sorry I'm late, Sevi. Had to fetch my lucky butter. No worries, let's go. We're teeing off in an hour. Great. We're taking your car. Can't. It's already taken. What do you mean taken? It was right here when I left a few minutes ago. I sold it to Weber Cars and made a whole lot of green. Birdie told me that's the best way to sell your car. Not only the best way, it's the fair way. Kom ons vat die pad.
Don't be off, be savvy. We buy cars geared for a fast sale, geared for you.
The stage, the lights, the crowd, everything's perfect until suddenly someone slips on the dance floor. A speaker lands in the buffet. In an instant, your masterpiece is a mess. That's why Auto & General is there with events liability insurance. We handle the unexpected so you don't have to. Plan the party, wow the guests, leave the rest to us. For more information on events liability insurance, visit autogen.co.za. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
5 minutes to 8 o'clock. Let's catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Oh, Bongani Bingwa, how are you?
So I'm such a hypocrite because I am at once this person, but then I try to make or turn the people in my household to be this person too. What am I talking about? I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so I mean, if you live with somebody who is very skittish, so they get fright very easily with whatever you do in life. They're very skittish. Maybe you should sort of take advice from this guy, because his wife scares very easily in the home. So whenever he enters a room, enters the house, this is how he does. And lots of ladies are saying, this is finally the manual. Men, take note.
I am entering the bedroom. I am your husband. I am not an intruder. I am now leaving the kitchen and entering the dining room. My name is Michael, and I live here. I am entering the TV room. If anyone is in here, do not be alarmed.
So Kabazela, I'm the opposite of Michael.
Yeah.
If you are skittish, you are going to be my toy for the rest of your life, because I will scare you. So I'm that guy who you will open your bedroom door, and then I'll just be there outside of the room standing, waiting for you to go, "Ah!"
Dude, me and you are the same WhatsApp group.
But the hypocrisy of it all is that I am so skittish myself. Even here at work, when we go from the upstairs area where we prepare for the show, if somebody comes down the stairs, like I want to run.
So you
So I scare
but
others
you scare
because
very
I scare easily, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love it as well. My missus is like that. So sometimes if I come home a little bit earlier and I hear the showers on, so I'll walk in the house, and then she normally leaves the door open to the bathroom. So then I'll just stand there and I'll put a little bit of my head just around the corner, and then I'll just watch. Then eventually she sees me, and then the little scream comes out, and then she will always try and get me back, and I just don't react. I don't scare easily, thank goodness. But it's a very funny one. So, living with somebody who's very skittish, how do you navigate? And if you are skittish, like, why? Have you always been like that since you were a child? Or, has it kind of developed a little bit into your adult years? So, how do you handle living with somebody who's very skittish?
You frighten them. You frighten them and frighten them and frighten them, and you never stop frightening them. Are you yourself skittish? Tell us why. And are you one of those people who scares those around you?
702 Feedback with Rupfiwa Kone.
You've seen I'm skittish, ne?
Mm-hmm. I have seen, and you do also make me feel that way sometimes
Scare
when
you.
you speak on the mic into the booth, and you're like, Rupfiwa! It's just it's louder than it needs to be, Bongani.
Wow, what other feedback do you have?
Well,
Something positive now.
Yes, absolutely, Bongani. Well, last week we had 2 kids who made us feel good here on 702 Land. And following the attention around Austin Applesby's extraordinary 4-hour swim to save his
the Aussie
family.
boy.
Yes. Tennis Australia CEO Craig Telly flew to Perth and offered Austin a sponsorship package worth 7 million Australian dollars.
Wow. To play tennis?
Yes, to play tennis, and it includes a full tennis scholarship and elite training opportunities.
Yeah.
However, Austin, being this humble family guy that he is, declined to relocate permanently to pursue the professional career, and chose instead to prioritize his family and community.
He also has that girlfriend that he was saying.
Yes.
Remember he said he swam for his girlfriend.
So obviously he doesn't want to leave her behind. And also, Bongani, following Blessing's 10,000 Rand win on the 702 Whiz Quiz, an avid listener reached out with a meaningful gesture. Raquel Meyer from Capital Hotel School wrote on behalf of his managing director, Ronel Bazenhout, a loyal fan of the show, and said they were deeply moved by Blessing's win and her dream of becoming a chef. And to celebrate this, and as part of their school's 25th anniversary Giving Back initiative, Capital Hotel School has offered to host Blessing for a day at their
She said she
Pretoria
wanted to be a
campus.
chef.
Yes, Nani. They're going to give her hands-on exposure as a training chef, and it includes making her favorite dish, pizza, and she can be accompanied by her parents and guardian, Bongani. And also, just to finish off that, there are listeners who also disagree with you when it comes to Amy Winehouse.
Surprise.
Went back to what you know. Oh no, Bongani, this Amy Winehouse is the one. Back to Back is the best song ever.
Look, I know it's an unpopular opinion. I want to know yours. An unpopular opinion about a popular artist. Who is it for you? Not that you think they're bad, you're just, nah. Let us know after the news.
This is EWN.
MPs make progress in their long investigation into the RAF, and Kemi Bihari is expected to continue with his testimony at the Mandela Commission. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts will today start working on its draft reports on the Road Accident Fund after its 3-month-long inquiry into maladministration. Committee Chairperson Songezo Zibi says he's satisfied by the way the inquiry has been handled, and he believes it will set a benchmark for overseeing other troubled state entities. The committee has, however, failed to get the former RAF CEO Collins Letswalo to testify in response to the many allegations of misconduct levelled against him by witnesses after he snubbed parliamentary summonses to appear. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Following testimony from the Auditor General, the Special Investigating Unit, accounting bodies, RAF officials, former staff and boards of the entity, Scopa will now begin to draft its findings and recommendations. Scopa Chairperson Zongezo Zibi says he believes the process has been a worthwhile one, not only for the RAF.
We'll also be able to have more specific oversight criteria. So in the case of the Road Accident Fund, we will not rely on the annual report.
Although former CEO Collins Letswalo challenged the authority of the committee to conduct the probe, Zibi says he will be afforded the opportunity to respond to sections of the report that impact him.
If he is inclined to take the report on review, then it needs to be clear from beginning to end that he was given every opportunity to produce to comment on the report.
The committee is expected to wrap up deliberations on the report by the end of the month. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Staying in Parliament, the members there now want forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan's close confidant Sarah Jane Trent to be hauled before the ad hoc committee inquiry after his appearance this week. Trent is accused of being part of O'Sullivan's Independent Police Investigative Directorate investigations and also has close links to former IPID head Robert McBride. Trent is expected to appear as part of the last batch of witnesses as the committee prepares to conclude its business. Babalo Ndenza reports.
Sarah Jane Trent is a forensic investigator and also serves as an advisor to private investigator Paul O'Sullivan, who is appearing before the ad hoc committee today. Her close relationship with former IPID head Robert McBride has also come up when Action SA MP Darylene James questioned McBride last month.
You were in contact with Sarah Jane almost every day. The two of you were going for drinks. The two of you had a romantic affair. I put it to you. Am I right?
Yesterday, EFF MP Leanne Matthys said she's equally implicated like O'Sullivan and must appear.
She was charged for impersonating an IPID officer. In addition, she's been in and out of the IPID offices, so she must come here. There's no reason for her not to appear.
ANC fixer Brown Mahotsi, who had asked for extra security, is expected to appear on the 24th of February. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
Ekurhuleni's suspended head of legal, Kemi Bihari, has accused the Metro's current city manager, Kagiso Lerutla, of pressuring him to settle cases of two senior officials suspended for wrongdoing. Bihari told the Mandela Commission of Inquiry yesterday that Lerutla was under pressure by the ANC in the region. Bihari was suspended from his job in December for allegedly failing to act against the Metro's top cop Julius Mkwanazi, who had entered into an irregular contract with the private security company of suspected crime boss Vusmuzi Matlala. Tabiso Goba has more.
In September 2023, Ekurhuleni's head of human resources, Xolani Ncinza, was suspended for allegedly having fraudulent qualifications. In the following year, the Metro's EMPD chief, Jabulani Mapiyeye, was also suspended following sexual assault allegations against him. Testifying before the Madlanga Commission yesterday, Ekurhuleni's suspended head of legal, Kemi Bihari, says he faced pressure to reach a settlement with the two men that would have seen them return to work.
I was brought under enormous pressure by the current city manager, Mr. Kagiso Lerutla, who was a CFO at the time, to settle. Kagiso Lerutla and Dr. Kupedi were vying for the city manager positions. And I was asked, because of certain agreements that were reached at the regional conference of the ANC, that the agreements reached that you must settle NISA and you must settle Chief of Police.
Bihari's testimony continues today. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And the UN's rights chief says the atrocities unleashed on Sudan's El Fasher last October were a preventable human rights catastrophe. Volker Turk has warned that the same could now be done in Kordofan. Turk says thousands of people were killed in a matter of days and tens of thousands fled in terror. He's also called for the killers to be held accountable and make sure history never repeats itself. The Sudanese Regular Army and the RSF have been at war since April 2023, with the conflict killing tens of thousands of people, displacing millions more and triggering one of the world's worst humanitarian crises.
In one horrific example, people who fled to separate locations, thousands of kilometers apart, gave consistent accounts of the mass killing of hundreds of people sheltering at Al Fasher University. Others spoke of attacks on health facilities and healthcare workers.
Gold is trading at $5,032.65 an ounce. The rand is at $15.90 to the dollar, $21.75 to the pound, $18.93 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.93 a barrel.
Traffic is heavily backed up on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road all the way towards the Gilulis interchange. And then if you're traveling in Isando, we've got an accident on the R24 West approaching Barber Road. It's causing heavy delays.
And in your sport, Namibia batting first as they start their T20 World Cup against the Netherlands. Ngidi compliments Canada after Proteas win. Proteas women welcome Pakistan in the opener in Potch of their T20 International Series. And Thomas Frank avoids answering as Spurs are in the Premier League relegation battle.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 29 and 32 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts will today start working on its draft report on the Road Accident Fund after its 3-month-long inquiry into maladministration.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Your brain's a well-oiled machine. Now put it to work in the brain of 702. Enter on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 8 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast on this Tuesday, the 10th of February. Earlier, we spoke about South Africa's efforts to find an HIV vaccine. We spoke to Dr. Shital Kasim, our first human HIV vaccine trial. It's a cautious African-led step, and it follows decades of work against the epidemic. We also reflected on Mandela's wish when he established the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. 30 years later, our vulnerable children, hungry, alone, on our streets. I asked the question, what is the Department of Social Development doing to look after these children? And sometimes it's all too easy to throw those questions at government. What does that tell us about our society, about our churches, about our communities? Or do we look at it and say, there but for the grace of God go I, it's not my children, mine are fine? Up next, have you got a startup? Have you got a brilliant idea? Maybe an invention? Investors are going to gather for Sweat Africa. Venture capitalists, investors, people looking to fund bright ideas. We'll tell you all about that coming up.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 after 7, are you skittish? Are you somebody who scares easily? I'm a horrible person. I often imagine, Amo, you wake up on a random, I don't know, Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. You need to use the bathroom. You're barely awake. You're still in, dream mode. You open your bedroom door and there's a man standing outside your room. Not saying anything, just standing there. Wouldn't you scream?
I would scream.
I'll often do that. I'll stand outside my daughter's room and just wait to scare her.
I hope they scare you too.
Oh! And sometimes she gets upset. She says, "Oh, you're doing this now. You're doing this now. When I do it to you, you're gonna be scared."
Gonna get you right back.
You know you've got them when they are desperate for a revenge moment. It's hypocrisy because I'm skittish. I could be coming out of the car, arriving from home, getting out of the garage, and if there's somebody where they're not supposed to be, yeah, I am skittish. I
What do you
agree.
mean not supposed to be? Like around the corner?
I shouldn't be a human being where I'm not expecting one.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Good morning, Bongos. I know I'm going to be stung by bees from the beehive, but Beyonce, she doesn't do it for me, despite her popularity and what everyone says about her, but she doesn't do it for me at all. It's Jacob Kamori. Have a lovely day.
Bongani, I'm in total agreement with you when you say that Amy Winehouse is I mean, she's a copy of a copy. If you think of the black stars from the 60s, and that's what British singers have always done, So you're right. She's a Okay, yes, there is a little something there. There is a vibe going on, but, we've seen this before. There's nothing original about her, Her and Ed Sheeran. Also, that girl that sang I forget her name, the girl who sang the Bond song. Everyone goes crazy over her. It's like, no, man, rubbish. All of this has been done before.
Good morning, Bongani team. So, unpopular opinion on artists is Beyonce for me. I don't see it. I don't get it. Like, there's a few songs that I like, but I just don't get it. And also, I completely disagree with you on Amy Winehouse. But great show. Thanks, guys. This is Samantha in Rosebank.
Hey, Bongani, mina, I struggle no Tyler, man. I still don't get her. But I'm not even afraid to say it. With Tyler, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I don't understand. Sometimes when she gets whatever she gets, awards and stuff, for which song I listen to that song. The one time I listened to a song 3 times, man, trying to fall in love with her. No, I struggle, Nalianga, it's serious.
Hello, Bongani. The artist for me, it has to be the late Mshoza. Hi, guys. Unfortunately, I know y'all will come for me with guns blazing, but her music, no, guys, it's not for me. Nothing bad, but no, she didn't do it for me.
The thing about these opinions, they are so subjective, right? And as much as you expect others to swallow yours, you've got to take theirs too. So Samantha and Jacob, I'm struggling to live with your view of Beyonce, right? But I take it. All's fair in love and war. I think she's a phenomenal artist, and her impact on the culture on urban culture around the world has been unprecedented, frankly. But you are allowed to not like artists. I do. I think somebody was subtweeting Adele there. That's the other one who sang the Bond, because she said Amy Winehouse, Ed Sheeran, and Adele, right? Tyler is South African, man. What the heck?
Yeah, but also
What the heck? You must like Tyler.
we like her, we respect her, and also when you speak about culture contribution and just how celebrated an artist is, we respect all of that. But personally, and I know the
No.
Tigers are gonna come for me, but I just
You don't get it.
Oh,
Muteo, who's that artist for you?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you, look.
We are never ever.
I'm this bad. I can't.
Getting back together again.
Yeah, man. Look, no, not my cup of tea.
For
And,
me,
and it's
that-
okay.
It's that, I mean, if Michael Jackson was teased about being Peter Pan,
Yeah.
she's stuck as Wendy, right?
Wow.
Come on. You know what I mean. Mshoza? Who was that? Mshoza. Who's KG?
Omaz Mshoza.
What didn't
KG,
Mshoza
please,
sing?
please.
Oh, it's cute. It's cute. 19 what? 95?
I think this was one of her latest singles. I mean,
What year?
2014, I'm sure, around
That
there.
late?
Yeah.
Sounds
She
like
sang multiple discos.
91.
When the young Chinese.
Yeah, no. You had to have been there. I missed the moment. It's okay.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451442 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amma, what are you seeing?
Bongani, we've got delays on the N17 West in the Boksburg area between Rondebolt Road and Heidelberg Road. Roadworks are causing these delays, and there's more roadworks taking place along the R21 north in the Tembisa area heading towards the city of Tshwane. Please plan about 10 minutes of your hold up there because they are causing delays. And if you are traveling in the city of Tshwane, we've got delays, in fact heavy traffic volumes along Old Johannesburg Road. An earlier accident is causing these delays just as you approach Eastern Road. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a businesswoman on the way to the airport after sleeping through her alarm. Bags in the back, boarding pass on the dashboard. She prays she'll make her flight.
Hope I make it.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's the potential closing of a big deal. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005. In proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
18 after 8 o'clock, Africa produces world-class ideas. But world-class ideas, no matter how good they are, they need support, they need investment, they need cheerleaders. Often that's the problem, isn't it? Taking a really, really great idea into a well-funded business that can scale up. And often, of course, even when that happens, founders find themselves having to leave the continent to make their ideas come true elsewhere in the world. Well, in a few days' time, there's going to be a mega event. It's called Sweat Africa. And yes, it takes place in the Western Cape, but the idea is to bring together startups, universities, investors, and venture capitalists from around the continent and indeed around the world. It's not just a conference, but call it a different kind of experiment that seeks to put African innovation at the center, not the margins. So these are people who are looking for your bright idea. To talk to us now, we've invited Professor Tulio de Oliveira, who is the director of the Center for Epidemic Research and Innovation, but also the co-founder of Sweat Africa. Prof, always a pleasure to have you on our show. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, and good morning to.
I mean, Africa abounds, as does any other continent, with great ideas. So it's not that we lack talent or ideas, but we don't always match them with the proper funding they need.
Yes.
We're losing your line there just a little. Are you there, Prof? The signal just going? Are you there? Hello, Prof? All right, tell you what we'll do. We'll try and get him back on the line. The signal just not working for us there. We lost. Okay, you seem to be back. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay,
yeah.
we lost you for that whole answer. I was saying we don't have a lack of ideas. We just lack the support for them.
Yes, that's exactly what you highlighted in your introduction. Yeah, and that's what Sweat Africa is trying to do. So what we did, we brought all the top universities together which is very unusual because normally the universities, they like to compete with each other, but they saw this kind of great opportunity of join forces together, not only with the innovation that happened with the university, but also outside with investors, venture capitalists, and another group of people, what we call ecosystem builders, to create this mega festival that will bring all the top startups in South Africa and the continent together and match them with very large investors.
Now, as I understand it, this idea was born after a long mountain run. There you were, sweaty, half joking, and the idea stuck.
Yes, so exactly. So how the idea was born? Yeah, I am here in Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch has a very thriving ecosystem of business development, and then we were visited by two of the big organizations in the world that work with AI, Google DeepMind and OpenAI. OpenAI is the ones that made ChatGPT. And then we took them for a long run on a mountain area that's part of the Cape Epic. And as we come back, sweat, and then everything ended up in a wine bar in Stellenbosch, we had this idea of why not come in the hottest time of the year in South Africa, that's normally February, and bring all the hot ideas together with investors. And that the idea came end of last year, and then we have worked day and night. But what was very surprising and exciting is that how much both the investors, government, and university and startup like that idea of coming together to portray the African innovation.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. All right, so tell me, what kind of ideas would pop at a gathering like this? What are investors looking to spend money in? What are universities looking for further research and development? What kind of ideas are they looking for that?
Okay, so first, all the tickets were sold out. Before the event. So now we have already over 100 startups, and some of them are becoming very big. So, for example, here in Stellenbosch, we're going to have what we call the famous four. This is 40 startups that left the university and now have become R1 billion companies. And some of them make electric cars, other one making components for satellites called Cube Space. And one of them, everyone probably know if you have a cappuccino with almond milk, butternut, the one that makes spreads.
Okay.
So some of them are quite large, and some of them are already employing hundreds. It's not thousands of people, and other ones are more nascent. And there we have a lot of these great ideas. One of the great ideas, one that's coming from Kenya called RIA, and what they do, they use microbes, to make better soil, but they do that in the field, that they could come and test the soil of the farm, and then generate a component of microbes that would be delivered straight away. And normally these tests take months, so they advance that. Another ones bring like what we call telemedicine, when to try to stop this terrible thing that happened a lot in South Africa, that some people has to take a whole day out of work to go to a clinic, But how can you integrate clinic, pharmacy, and a doctor in a secure way, And other ones are beginning to produce enzymes. Enzymes are the basic components that go in therapeutics and vaccines in Africa, because that's something that we got very frustrated from the pandemic. We led the world on the scientific research on COVID, but we didn't produce a single vaccine in South Africa.
It sounds like a wide array of ideas and inspiration and brilliance. I'll tell you what we'll do. Have your gathering, because it's running this weekend, the 13th and 14th of February in the Western Cape. And then maybe we can chat to you afterwards about some of the winners and some of the bright ideas, and maybe you can introduce us to some of them for a bit of inspiration. Hey, Prof?
That would be a great idea, Bongani. So as part of that, we're also doing a pitch competition. So that is for two areas, what you call hard tech. Hard tech is when you make hardware components like cars or satellites, other ones for biotech. And the winner, we're going to give 100,000 rand in cash for that pitch competition. In addition to that, we also have a big acceleration program that we're doing with one of the top universities in the US, the MIT, and that focus on healthcare and green tech. So we're going to have at least 4 winners, that we can then portray then, and maybe you can even talk to them in the show to see what they are bringing.
Absolutely. With so much bad news, we need a dose of good every now and again. Appreciate your time. Professor Tulio de Oliveira, co-founder of Sweat Africa. What a fantastic idea, right?
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
And maybe one of those startups, Adam, could help solve this issue in France. Twin brothers, identical, both on trial for murder, but only one of them did it.
Morning, Bongs. Yeah, what are the chances of this? 2 identical twins on trial, as you say, for murder, but they have confounded all attempts so far to determine which one pulled the trigger. They're called Samuel and Jeremy Y, or E, I suppose in French. Anyway, they are amongst 5 defendants on trial near Paris, accused of a double murder and several attempted murders. They're not necessarily squeaky clean, these guys, but because they are identical twins, they have identical DNA. And reports in the French newspaper Le Parisien say both are suspected of conspiring to plot a double murder. But who actually did it? There's DNA on an assault rifle, but according to detectives, there can only be from one of them. So they're not saying which one because they can't work out which one. And the twins themselves are not saying which one did it. So where does that leave the law? Can they only be charged with conspiracy to commit murder rather than actual murder, which would make quite a difference to the sentencing? The court decision is due in a couple of weeks, but I have no idea what decision they'll get and how they'll get there.
The train in Spain stays mainly on the plane, Adam?
And generally speaking, well praised as well, aren't they? Think about the world's rail networks, and some are less good than others. I live in a country where our rail network is always getting criticized, but Spain has been lauded for being on time and clean and fast and smooth and modern, but they had 2 fatal train crashes in Spain last month, and we mentioned these, Bongs. 47 people died, including a train driver. So now they have begun, the train drivers, a 3-day nationwide strike, not about pay and conditions, as seemingly most strikes are these days, but about safety. In fact, there have been reports since those 2 crashes suggesting that safety checks and maintenance issues have not been sorted out. So it's a bit of a throwback in a way. Once upon a time, people really did used to go on strike because their factories were too dangerous or the machine they're working on could kill them. In this day and age, it seems odd in a way that they're saying, come on, please, can we maintain our rail network? And 3 days will certainly impact on good Spanish folks' minds.
And finally, come and get pregnant.
Yes, how's that for a slogan? I think France did this once. In fact, I think several countries have done this to try to boost their birth rates. But South Korea has a particular problem, given that they have one of the lowest birth rates in the world. And a politician called Kim Hee-soo, he's based in southern Jindo County in South Korea. He came up with the idea that we should, in his words, import young women from Vietnam or Sri Lanka. I'm assuming voluntarily rather than forcibly. Anyway, that women should be brought in from Vietnam or Sri Lanka to boost the birth rate because not enough South Korean women are having babies. There has been a lot of public anger about this, a diplomatic protest by Vietnam itself. Mr. Kim Hee-soo has been forced to step down from his own Democratic Party. But here's the stat that we might well remember. There are around about 50 million people living in South Korea currently. They reckon that could be 25 million in the next half a century, such is the rate of birth. They've got a bit of a problem. They need more South Koreans. I don't think his is the answer necessarily.
Come and get pregnant. Yeah, you think you've heard them all. Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Ooh, this is not so good news. Are you a fan of peanut butter? Muteo, why should you be worried?
Well, the National Consumer Commission says it has received a voluntary product recall notification from peanut butter manufacturer Butternut. The recall follows a notice from the manufacturer whose routine checks revealed that the affected products did not meet health regulations on toxins in food. Aflatoxins are dangerous, potent, and naturally occurring toxins produced by certain molds. Now, are also classified as group 1 carcinogens, right? Directly linked to causing liver cancer, acute liver failure, and death in humans and animals when taken in higher volumes. Aflatoxins often contaminate crops like peanuts, maize, and rice. Last year, the House of Natural Butters also pulled its peanut butter products for the same reason.
Can I tell you how ahead of the news curve you are? Literally, because I've got my phone with me in studio.
Yeah.
As you are reading that, there's a Times Live alert about exactly the same story popping up on my cell phone. Isn't that interesting? Talk to me about Northern Platinum. Their interim earnings are also looking good.
Yeah, metal prices have been good for the past year, and they're taking advantage of that. Northern Platinum's interim earnings set to soar, with sales revenue up 60% to 23 billion rand. The miner's headline earnings are expected to jump, driven by higher production and improved metal prices. All its operations are performed quite well and reported improved metal production.
Your indicators?
The rand now at 15.90 against the US dollar, stronger this morning at 18 rand 94 against the euro, and at 21 rand 74 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,040 an ounce, or platinum at $2,093 an ounce. Brent crude now at $68.91 a barrel. That's your morning business. Stephen Grotes with more this afternoon.
Straight to the news desk we go. Don't forget, coming up, another chance to show your mental might in the brain of 702. Good morning again. Sfiso Zulu.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. The trial of 5 prison wardens accused of killing an inmate will start today at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court. The officials allegedly beat the prisoner to death at the Johannesburg prison in 2022, and it's understood that Dumisani Ngwenya was involved in a fight with another inmate when he was attacked by the wardens. Jabuli Lembata reports.
It is alleged the wardens took turns beating the inmate in full view of other prisoners, who are now witnesses in the matter in court. Ngwenya was hospitalized and later succumbed to his injuries. The 5 men were arrested and charged with murder. However, they were released on bail for 2,000 rand. Last year, the Department of Correctional Services told EWN that the officers have all returned to work despite facing murder charges. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg Magistrates Court.
Limited timelines and statutory deadlines have compelled the Nkabinde inquiry to take an extraordinary step as it investigates suspended Gauteng NPA head Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office. The panel has granted Chauke's legal team permission to lead evidence before the evidence leaders close their case. The ruling follows a decision by the panel by retired Judge Bess Nkabinde to deny yet another postponement application because of unprepared witnesses. But delivering the ruling yesterday, Advocate Baloyi Mere said the approach was necessary to avoid prejudice and ensure compliance with the NPA Act.
The counter application launched by Advocate Chauke's team is granted subject to the necessary modification of the relief sought in the notice of motion. 1.3. Advocate Chauke will open his case and commence with leading evidence on Thursday, the 12th of February 2026.
And convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, has refused to answer questions from U.S. lawmakers, but her attorney says she's prepared to speak if granted clemency by President Donald Trump. Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking, was subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee to discuss her relations with Epstein. She's the only person convicted of a crime in connection with Epstein who died in a New York jail in 2019 while awaiting trial for sex trafficking. Maxwell was convicted in 2021 of supplying underage girls to Epstein, who had ties to powerful business executives, politicians, celebrities, and even academics. She was subpoenaed to testify virtually yesterday from the Texas prison where she is serving her sentence. Rather than answering the committee's questions, she invoked her Fifth Amendment rights not to incriminate herself. Committee Chairperson James Comer told the reporters that this is obviously very disappointing.
We would have brought her in months ago, but she's indicated she was going to plead the fifth, and unfortunately, she had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has, questions that would be very important in this investigation, and she chose to invoke her fifth.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 29 and 32 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got roadworks taking place in Waterfall City along the N1 North, right near Allendale Road, causing delays coming out of the Baklu interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange.
The top story this hour, the trial of 5 prison wardens accused of killing an inmate will begin today.
Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
We need to have the conversation about there is the institutionalization of extortion of foreign-owned businesses by police. A guest who was here not too long ago said, I can't say this, but the cash movers of monies that are generated in foreign spaza shop are South African police. They are the ones, like you would have the cash companies, they are the ones that move the cash that is generated in spaza shops in the townships.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Okay, truck 7 at 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without My Way's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Corporates that care promotes and encourages leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. So this Wednesday, we're talking to Romco CEO Mlanzeni Boyce. We do this on Wednesdays to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
For over 30 years, Bid Air Cargo has been keeping South Africa's supply chain moving, giving our economy the dedicated cargo capacity it needs. Whether it's really, really urgent, oversized, or hazardous, when a shipment has to fly, we make it happen. Linking all major airports with reliable freighter services, our promise delivers. Bid Air Cargo. Every kilo counts.
Alcohol drowns our hope and fuels our pain. Our streets are flooded. Our families are breaking. Women and children are not safe. Alcohol kills 100 people in South Africa every day. For more information, visit www.truecostofalcohol.africa. Increase excise tax on alcohol.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Bongani, you ask if you've worked with somebody who's untouchable. When I was a junior doctor, I found another doctor doing very questionable stuff and a couple of patients that had died due to very, very poor management. Reported him up to the senior management of the hospital, and I didn't know that this was a very connected individual all the way up to the then minister and now minister. And a week later, from a completely different doctor in the hospital, I actually got a death threat. He said that you must be careful who you report because you don't want to have an accident driving down the path to work. So, yep, I've worked with somebody like that.
Good morning, 702. So where I work, people get away with murder. Absolute murder. There was this one lady who was untouchable. She used to ask her husband to come to the office and beat people up with a sambok. HR knew about it, directors knew about it, top management knew about it, nothing was done. One of the gents, his son passed away, and he came to her and asked her to go home, and she responded by saying, well, he's already dead. There's nothing you can do to wake him up anyway. So you'll just leave when everybody else leaves at the end of the day. She got away with this kind of treatment of employees for years. Nothing ever happened.
Yo.
Just when I thought the Shambok was the story of the moment.
I don't get shocked easily. Wow. That takes the cake. We're talking, of course, about officials, particularly in the public service. This is based on what we're hearing at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, where IPID was quite clear about what needed to be done. But somehow, this one individual seems to have been protected over and over and over. So whether it was HR or the head of legal or the supervisors or the council, everybody was protecting this man. And they were completely untouchable. Have you worked with somebody like that, where no matter what you do, no matter what evidence you gather, no matter whom you report it to, they just get away with it? And even when they're suspended, they just wait out their suspension to finish. And then you see this person popping up in another prominent position in the department or the company, as the case may be, and the matter just kind of dies down. And you learn very quickly that maybe they're untouchable.
EWN Sport.
Anthony Teixeira returns. Cindy Paluta out for the day. All right, so we had yesterday the Proteas playing for the first time, but of course the tournament had already started and it continues.
It does continue. Namibia actually getting their campaign started. They're in the middle of the park against the Netherlands for the day's opening encounter at the T20 World Cup out in Delhi. Since they're being sent into bat by the Dutch, they're 108 for 4 after 15 overs. JJ Smith there on 7 alongside Zane Green, who's recently gone there and is yet to get off the mark. We had seen a splendid knock earlier today from Lofty Eaton, who was then dismissed for 42 runs. Later this morning, New Zealand will be up against the UAE. That's from 11:30, and the afternoon encounter is at 3:30, which sees Pakistan against the USA. Half century from Aiden Markram and a dazzling 4-for-32 spell from Lungu Ngidi guided the Proteas to an opening 57-run victory over Canada. Ngidi complimented the North Americans' fight.
I think they did very well tonight. With the bowling, our guys obviously got off to a good start, but they were able to bring the game back, and that's what T20 cricket is about. Being able to apply some pressure as well. They got, I think, 4 wickets in that middle period. That's world class for any team. You take that, especially after the start we got. And then for us to have them 4 down in the power play and still be able to bat out their 20 overs, that's just as good as well.
Afghanistan up next tomorrow morning. Well, for the Proteas women, they play their first T20 against Pakistan today. Laura Volvaert has shared some of the goals for this 3-match series.
Yeah, well, the World Cup's obviously massive for us this year. Any T20 game is awesome prep for that. Maybe trying out 1 or 2 combinations, but I think other than that, trying to play as strong a side as we can, trying to play as good as cricket as we can, and a similar brand that we would like to play in that World Cup. Obviously, a couple of wins would be nice. A series win would be great heading into that. But yeah, just trying to play some good, brave cricket.
First ball in Potch is set for 6 p.m. While switching to football, an hour later, the Nedbank Cup round of 32 will be completed. Only 2 spots left in the last 16. Polokwane City will battle Amazulu for one of those, while we have Soweto Super United against Milford in the other clash. In the Premier League, Michael Carrick will look to maintain his unbeaten start at Man United when they face off against West Ham. Chelsea tackle Leeds. We have Everton playing Bournemouth, and a mid-table showdown between Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle. Spurs boss Thomas Frank avoided answering if his side are in a battle to stay up, as they just 6 points outside the relegation zone and haven't won in the league in 2026.
There's no doubt we're desperate to win games, desperate, and I'm focusing on Newcastle's great opportunity ahead of us against a good team. That's the main thing. That is, can we go out there and get 3 points tomorrow? That will be very good, and then climb from there and look forward. That's what we need to do.
When is the North London derby again?
It's in a few weeks, isn't it? It's going to be interesting.
We must take all the points we can from whoever we can get them.
I think that's going to be the next victory for Spurs. Earliest of the games tonight will be kicking off at 9:30. Anthony
When is City coming back?
Tomorrow, thankfully. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
See, I'm an Arsenal supporter. That's what that was all about. It's 9:15. Amo, let's wrap up the morning's traffic.
Very busy morning Indeed, Bongani, if you are traveling on the M1 South, do expect delays between Greyston Drive and Glenhove Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North. This is between the Geldenhuys interchange and the Kilulis interchange. While traveling on the N1 both directions, we're seeing delays just as you head towards Rivonia Road. An accident is reported there. And then on the opposite side of the road is peak time delays towards the Baku interchange. So please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
LLB graduates can fast-track their legal career with the Law Society of South Africa's PVT School for Legal Practice. LPC accredited, this 4-month practice-ready course, which is taught by practicing lawyers, can reduce your PVT contract by 12 months for admission. Study by day, after hours, or via distance at campuses nationwide. The first 2026 intake runs from January to April. Applications close 31 October 2025. Apply now at lssalead.org.za. That's lssalead.org.za.
Let's hear from Susan, owner of Leopard Song Manor, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We were with our previous insurer for 13 years. Switching made me aware of things that we weren't covered for. It was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Modern romance is complicated. Swiping left, swiping right, decoding situationships. Flying should not be part of the drama. That's why at Fly Sapphire, there are no mixed signals. Just low fares from only 570 Rand. That's right. If low fares are your love language, we speak it fluently. Get to flysaffair.co.za and use our low fare finder to track down the best flights this month of love. It's hassle-free flying from the heart. Fly Sapphire for the love of flying. T's and C's apply.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra presents its Valentine's Gala concert with music to melt your heart. Conducted by Daniel Boyko, the concert features award-winning pianist Charles Duplessis and showcases South Africa's ballroom champions. Saturday, 14th February at 7 p.m. at the Linda Auditorium. Tickets at Quicket.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Clement Manyatela, whose name gets mentioned in very high places by big people. I played that clip a little earlier on.
Yeah.
We've had a cancellation.
So, yeah.
So we know what you're not doing.
At
you are
10.
scheduled to speak to Julius Malema, who now says, Ufuna O'Sullivan.
Yeah, Ufuna
la.
Yeah.
He wants him here.
Yeah.
Here.
We were meant to speak to Julius Malema today. He was supposed to visit us in studio between 10 and 11 o'clock. So we are
catering.
Postponing that. Does he even eat food that's not cooked by his close people?
Okay.
I don't think he does.
You didn't organize a shooting range.
No, not at all. So we are postponing that interview. We'll schedule it probably for the next week. But what we're going to do today on the 702 open line is, of course, talk about Paul O'Sullivan appearing. I'll remind the listeners of some of the things he's been accused of, and I'm interested to know, what do you actually want to hear from him? And then I want us to have a conversation, and I want to have it cautiously because I don't want us to degenerate. There's a tussle that's been happening between Rodin and King David schools about a tennis fixture that's not being honored, and King David, which is a Jewish school, is now accusing Rodin of being anti-Semitic. I will explain to the listeners and give some context of what has transpired. I saw a statement from Rodin drop on my emails this morning, so I'll read that as well. And I'd like to hear from our listeners, because we've got a large community of listeners whose children go to these schools. What do they think about how this matter has been handled? That's on the open line. At 10 o'clock, we are going to speak to the ad hoc committee in Parliament that's investigating these allegations of corruption and interference in the criminal justice system. 10:30, we speak to the public safety MMC about Xolani Khumalo, the Ekurhuleni mayoral candidate for Action SA. Do you know that this is the second person who has died during these and I say that in inverted commas, anti-gang operations? Because what makes it an operation? Shouldn't the authorities be there? Because that was always the justification of the show, that no, we approach these gangsters with authorities there.
Yeah.
So if they're not there,
what's going on? And is that the guy we want in Ekurhuleni? Although, mind you, with the current lot. So wait, at 10 o'clock, you're going to be speaking to the ad hoc committee.
Yes, I'm going to speak to the chair of the ad hoc committee
because they
it starts at 11.
11.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to understand. Clement Manyachela without Julius Malema this time on your radio between 9 and 12.
When the brightest brains collide in the biggest general knowledge quiz in Gauteng, it's time for the Brain of 702.
Time now to play the Brain of 702. Prove your mental might and win a share of 130,000 Rand in cash. 1,500 Rand up for grabs this round. You'll play again at the end of the day on 702 Drive with John Pullman. And of course, if you're still standing at the end of the week, you will win 10,000 Rand as the Brain of the Week. Ultimately, there's 30,000 Rand for the ultimate winner, the Brain of 702. You simply register on primemediaplus.com and we could be calling you. Now, he's an old hand at this. He told us yesterday morning that he got to the quarter-finals and he was on John Pullman's show yesterday and remains the reigning Brain of the day. Robbie, you're doing really well, hey?
Yes, I am.
Now, remind me again, what was the year you got to the quarterfinals?
It was either 2021 or 2022.
And were we at a mall?
No, we were doing this over the phone.
You did it over the phone, okay.
Yes, it was on a Saturday over the phone.
Okay, so you didn't get to go to one of the malls. Oh, that was during lockdown, am I correct?
It was during lockdown, yes.
Okay, so we weren't going to the malls during lockdown. I forget, hey? There's that 2-year period of my life that's missing. All right, good luck to you, Robbie, or Robinson is the more appropriate full name to use. What are you going for this time? You got 10 on John's show. What are you going for now?
I'm hoping for more than 10.
More than 10. All right, you stay on the line, my friend. You know how it works. Say So is your competition from North Riding. Now, Say So, I'm told this is the very first time you are playing Brain of 702.
Morning, Momos. Yes, it's for the first time I played Brain of 702.
And do you normally listen and shout all the answers?
Yeah, very much so, sir.
So you reckon this is your year?
I believe so.
All right, you're up against a good champion, hey?
Okay, let's
You're not intimidated?
Not at all.
I like it like that. I like it like that. You stay on the line, Say So. Just to calm your nerves a little bit, let Robbie have the first bite at the cherry. All right, you both know how it works. I've got 15 questions. Answer as many of them as you can. In 60 seconds, answer 15 questions, as many correctly as you can to be the winner. If the scores are tied, as you know, we will play sudden death. Robbie Robinson, you get the first bite at the cherry. Here we go, my friend. Take a deep breath. And KG, start the clock.
3, 2, 1.
Spell the word adamant.
ADAMANT.
Correct. Are frogs amphibians or reptiles?
Amphibian.
Correct. Complete the saying, he is a what in shining armor?
Knight.
Correct. After which number was the month November originally named?
9.
Correct. True or false? The USA became independent in 1776.
True.
Correct. What is the name of the largest ocean on Earth?
Pacific.
Correct. In American sport, the abbreviation MLB stands for Major League what?
Baseball.
Correct. The Latin phrase meaning solid land is terra what?
Firma.
Correct. The 2025 record of the year was Not Like Us by Kendrick who?
Lamar.
Correct. How many fibulas does a human have?
2.
Correct. Which American superstar singer became engaged to Travis Kelce in 2025?
Taylor Swift.
Correct. Which province does not have one of our national capitals? And I can't complete the question. It was going to be Free State or the Northwest. It is, of course, the Northwest. But we didn't get to that question. 11 questions asked and completed. 11 correct answers. Robbie, you've met your goal, hey?
Yes, I did.
11 correct answers. You wanted to do 10 or better. Well, stay on the line. You just never know. Say So, you've got a hill to climb, but I reckon you can get over it.
Yeah, let's give it a try.
Let's give it a try, man. You never know. KG, start the clock.
3, 2, 1.
Spell the word athlete.
ATHLETES.
Correct. Are marsupials mammals or reptiles?
Reptiles.
They're mammals. Complete the saying, it's only a what in a teacup.
Pass.
Storm. After which number was the month of September originally named?
7.
Correct. True or false? The French Revolution began in 1689.
True.
It's false. What is the name of the second largest ocean on Earth?
Atlantic.
Correct. In American sport, the abbreviation NHL stands for National what league?
Hockey.
Correct. The Latin phrase meaning the current state is status what?
Pass.
Quo. Who won the 2025 Album of the Year Grammy for Cowboy Carter?
Beyonce.
Correct. How many hyoid points does the human have?
2.
1. Which Portuguese soccer star became engaged to Georgina Rodriguez in 2025? It would have been Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo, that's what we would have been looking for. It's obvious, say so, I'm afraid. 11 questions asked, and you've got 5 correct answers. It's not a bad attempt for your first time, eh?
Okay, yeah.
Big difference between shouting the answers when you're not under pressure, hey?
Always.
Yeah. Good luck to you. Hopefully we'll play with you sometime again, hey?
Okay,
All right.
keep on my play.
Best of luck, say so. We'll see him again. You can bet on that. Robbie?
Bongani.
You're used to this, hey?
Yeah, you could say that.
Eh? You don't want to give the other children a chance, eh?
No.
No. For who? For what? Congratulations, man. You are our reigning brain. You've won 1,500 Rand thanks to 702. So you'll play again with John Pullman this afternoon, and you could still be the brain of the day if you're still standing, hey?
Yes, I hope so.
Hopefully, if you're still standing by the end of the week, we'll throw in another 10,000 Rand. And then you have a real chance of winning that big prize at the end of the competition. Robbie there in Soshanguve. Another round. He is the brain of the hour.
Get the advantage this tax year end with Sage. No stress, no scrambling. Just seamless HR and payroll that keeps you ahead of UIF, PAYE, and employment equity, all in one smart cloud solution. With automated compliance, real-time accuracy, and simplified HR and payroll, give your business the tax year end advantage. That's Sage. Visit tax.sage.co.za today.
The Checkers Extravaganza is now on. Save extra on new deals every week. Like the new 2-ply toilet rolls 9 per pack for $59.99. Be Well blended canola and extra virgin olive oil 1 litre for $69.99. And Flora 40% light 50% regular or gold fat spread 500 grams. Any 3 for 100 Rand. Valid until 15 February 2026. Only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
When choosing a medical aid, look carefully at the benefits. Like the benefit of cover that does more than just pay a claim. It pays you for living healthier. With the Personal Health Fund from Discovery Health Medical Scheme. The benefit of checkups, dental visits, and healthy choices, earning you up to 20,000 Rand on top of your medical savings account for day-to-day healthcare. Just another benefit that makes Discovery Health Medical Scheme for your health like no other. Speak to your financial advisor or visit discovery.co.za to get a quote. Discovery Health Medical Scheme is a registered medical scheme.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Morning, Bongani. A place that I'm never going to, whether driving or walking, is Philippi here in the Cape Town. It's the most dangerous place that one can ever be. Never, ever, ever. Hell will have to freeze first before I can go to Philippi. Walter from Cape Town.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. The place that I won't go, that I won't put a foot, is El Dorado Park. They call it El Dorado Park. It's El Dorado Park. I won't put my foot there. Thanks, Sam from Joburg.
I agree with the previous caller.
My also no-go area is Ekurhuleni in Mawopani. Ekurhuleni Mawopani no-go. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Morning, Bongani. Peter here from Kempton Park. No. People are painting Gomorrah in the wrong paint. I think Gomorrah is the safest place to go. Everyone can go there without somebody who's known. Gomorrah is the safest. Thank you.
Was there no struggle hero? Why do we have to call it Gomorrah? Come now.
Yeah, we need someone to explain because you've been
Isn't there a
wanting to
football
ask.
club as well?
Called Gomorrah.
Yeah. Like, did we run out of struggle heroes? Yeah, no. We were talking earlier about one of the suspects in the DJ Warris's murder case. The police have found out that a second suspect was killed about a week before they could even arrest him. The firearm believed to have been used in that murder is still missing. And it was at Marathon Informal Settlement, quite well known for high criminal activity. And so I was asking you the question, what are places you avoid because of safety concerns? That brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. We'll see you again tomorrow morning, bright and early. The Clement Manyatela Show is underway.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. At least 11 people have been injured when a bus they were traveling in tumbled down an embankment in Mondio. It's believed the driver of the Podco bus lost control after the brakes failed in the south of Johannesburg this morning. Demakatso Lishoro is there.
It's believed the bus driver called for help after realizing the brakes were failing. The bus had stopped on the side of the road, but the area is steep, and while stopped, it started rolling backwards and left the road and went over an embankment. There are no fatalities and all passengers have been rescued.